medi process and as one FM. Ivan, President Mahama 120 days performance and matters arise in Yanko.
Oh, Alaska. I'm in sure what tier for.
At tier 4 Joe so.
Sir, 120 days he wants them there. I can't.
Oh, that's right.
Free Serbia demonstration can ever come.
Yeah, the bedroom, any other matters, yeah, the bedroom.
Yeah, I think that this is the third time I may count on this particular issue, and I think that so far so good. Alaska and America say amamu no a yebu no ye ntrongu ebo bi so wonwuram na ya sora na dwo akwa Kocaine na ye ba implement to ba na ho aye huhu ndi which means wontimi nko wuram ho Kocaine sa abo no de a amamu no de onhu nibu amamu is about common sense. I identify yourself with the concerns of the people. Whenever you put me what the whole share nipa na odi omo so no dodo na average way no omo welfare with me gauge na wodo ho shem say I can say wodo onan she obi shoe ma da na wutime hu say de omo si hu wiase a na say de neema esitie ma omo a Alaska you understand the need say amamono is about doing what the people want. It is not about somebody sitting on high horses thinking say or an emperor and or some pharaoh reincarnated when you're to me so hallelujah chorus is not that surround apart you sit to praise them. No, we are sadrin now near the 12th century 11th century modern governance. I go to a stand of Alaska. It's a public enterprise. You drive with the people. I know the day the Nipano come no and then you look at context how things are prevailing no and a certain focus. Okay. Because as a mamo is all that what that's around apart the prevailing circumstances are capture the welfare and the attention of the majority of the people. No, as a government that is what you focus and address. For instance, yeah, that's around there. You say a DBA by a friend red boys no ma or no more that. It's a social crisis. As government, you veil your mind on the spot.
That's right.
You solve it. You wake up a day, you say dollar cost rising. Cost a lot of economic stir within the space. Man, nema boy cost as a government, you gauge there today, madam. Sorry, and now this month we are me, and now this year we are me. My focus is targeting the dollar because no impact affecting virtually every economic activity. It's all that governance is about. Right. For instance. Education low. Your friends say and never be a real aircon. The last time I catch us football creating its own economy. You call Europe a rake in a lot of dividend. Countries like Spain and other places are for making a lot of money from this football economy. Africa will be lacking behind. And what is emerging is the digital economy. That's Alaska. Right. So you wake up a day as president, you ask yourself, say, how do I train and reposition young people today to take advantage and to be part and parcel of this digital economy that is emerging? When with me yes na a governance, that is what you do, you drive. And my culture say nipa dasani ye nipa bonini sani nyankopon boy we were bombarded. Enti all your mind na one fan share any framework and to regulate human behavior. Alaska obeda sorry na di nipa ye no it's mind boggling. So framework and institutions and as a form must always be at play just to ensure say nipa bedi meraso because man on his own will never adhere to laws.
That's right.
Man will always want to have a free ride. So until say nipa beda sorry who say ade we make kofa akora ketwa na da meko jail because your fraud be defamation. Sanya sade na wo ha obetena panyina kokora na ofa akora na ne da because there are no consequences. Well. So you need to create those frameworks. So for me I think say John Mahama coming, now these were the concerns on the table. People were raising a lot of things about Akufo-Addo Niama na Afaso eye. So as government, want to make my back me Niama na Akufo-Addo you can't do that. You do that, you will not survive. So you need to listen to the many concerns. Now, man, for can now crap any paper no gin and change. Yes, Akufo-Addo aye then watch out to baby. Yes, oh yeah, then dear no more we no can as a smart person. That is what you do. So when you get the power, you undo these things and make it better. For instance, Alaska, Abra yenya economic downturn. Kroma say we were expecting the Akufo-Addo government to take bold, decisive decisions by cutting down the size of government. Because
that's right.
Now you who the balloon size. Nanyansa be any man, you more so be any so. The first time we had the biggest size of government, it ended up to be the most useless government ever in the history of this country.
Oh, really?
A debt, yes, for us. And they and we are John Mahama now president. Dear, you promised the people some bar, making sure some slash it down the size of government. Sabaya, Sikana ya the finance buruburu ya na fasobia ni so no esobete. Alaska Obaye, he has done that one. And I think that a feed into the many way and amount for a camp. And you see, cutting down the size of government, you know, very often people look at the economic benefit. My culture said not just economic, but it was some symbolic gesture. A portrait to Ghanaians said this time around, you know, we have a guy sitting at the Jubilee House. He listens to the concerns of the people. He will address the concerns among for, and for me that is positive. And with this code of way more launching at the Chie Alaska Airway, for me, people are not even aware said that particular code of conduct, you know, is sitting in the constitution.
That's right.
It's an uncharted territory. We've never stepped into that minefield just to check, say at least. Yeah, so over the years, you know, there has been this overriding. Your friends said free way for a man for obia the ope corruption here and there. People steal, arrogance and impunity. I bet the order of the day. Because majority of the people we rise in politics. I have say you know, don't go there because of merit.
That's
and not
right.
say because of whatever. He's there because he's a friend to this. Because Madam Funi will become a constituency we need that could do. Enti okotena ho na on kasa within no Alaska. That intellectual confidence is not there.
That's
so
right.
if you lack intellectual confidence, you need to replace it with arrogance. So arrogance na man for ya na man for ntiase o. Aya internal compensatory mechanism. When you lack something, you have to compensate it. You become very aggressive and very hostile. Talk to people foolishly.
So that people don't get close to
exactly.
you to expose your weakness.
To expose your weakness. So whenever you see people are always aggressive, very volatile, very arrogant, within them there is a hole. There is something deeper. They just don't want people to get close. They become hostile, and that is the only way they compensate for. But Alaska, say win him the whole year. Now you're on top of your game. You don't need to be hostile to people. For instance, if somebody walks to your office, say, "Oh, baby, South Alaska, if you have a problem near, when are we DC for this constituency, Mr. Ubetimia, Alaska?" All that you have to do is to accord the person the maximum respect. Listen to the person, whether you do or you don't do. That person, you know, I know the day will not be worried. You understand? But if you speak foolishly to that person because you're DC, most of them office, you should know, say, nipa no office, you know, or maho because we are Alaska, or maho because we are DC. The person is coming because of the office, not you. Because a day will come, you will not be sitting at the office.
But
people will still be
the
coming.
office still will be there.
Exactly. So if you're a very smart, broad-minded individual and you go into governance with this kind of mindset, Alaska, you survive and get out, and nothing will happen. So for me, this code of conduct that by it shouldn't just be a good paper so keke.
That's right.
Because it's obvious that most of the appointees are really going to be very arrogant because you know, say that is a must. So government must do everything. So
yes,
you
yes.
know that because some of these things are natural, they come up. People feel they know they think that I boss and also that kind of way.
Boss.
Yes, because if you are no they need to strike balance just to know so when you're in a level.
That's
and
right.
Now a weak mindset.
I know my level. Level don't change.
Alaska, you see, if you know your game, you know how to play some of these things. So I think that the president is good. So why yes I near my way. Now mom on kosuna on check it. No making sure say I nipa bi oba from sa near my way no. Yeah, the best example I'm Ghana for we say governance and run no for the people. Everything is for the people.
That's
not
right.
for ourselves. So yeah, the akwenya mawa is your time. Come and serve and go because we are then you go home. I go for the 8 years or whatever. And do you be as a wabim done I do kwa DC and kwa MP and I kwa minister staff or whatever. You should know say time down so then you exit power. You not be there forever. You understand? The best you can do is to serve humanity, and when the time comes, you go. So Alaska. In the last 120 days, John Mahama and Ghana for signed social contract. And for me, I think, say, the blue tick na doors home
the blue tick
yes, and I've seen a lot of critics Professor Ade and for who over the years have been very hostile to John Mahama as a person and to the NDC. Even these people are rating him A, B plus and clearly my culture says we will be a sound minded individual. We are very objective and very dispassionate. Now we had the Akoswa. You won't have much to say in terms of negativity because the gentleman has proven that indeed he was president before. He was voted out. He's learned his lessons. He's back to remake things and make things better. And for me, some of the things that he has done has been very phenomenal. For instance, Alaska, apart from the size of government, look at the economic space right now.
That's right.
And Senka ekwaye ebinum penso na nka dollar eswatimi ate 3 cedis aba for me Alaska nka lectures ya ye no krom ha no nka nyade ketwa. But in all these instances me president
that's right.
Because you see, as a president, this is part of the things that you're supposed to do. You understand that? Yes, but John Mahama Minyanti so never be celebrated said dollar so
no
and your news within the space. Nobody's even talking about it.
That's
right. But Alaska is a huge way. Say yet me drive on a man for mokra near my bansu who say dollar na swati. So there is the need for you to also bring down your things and then as a form. I think that Ghana me ebe feel that particular impact na me who say sebi niema na esesa no ekoye Ghana for afa enuma sem no this entrepreneur ideas you see early days yet to put a premium or price on this because implementation afa ya set emotion how it's going to be. But for me I think say your mind now what see what say you want to boost the entrepreneurial skills of young people. Alaska, that country will grow because over the years some mistake na ya obi free school ababi e buy adwuma ye.
Oh,
do you know say Kroma say averagely abuy adwuma the average pay 3,500
average pay.
Yes, now like what say Accra now if you yan onware nwoye now you watch akatua 3,500 can you even survive? How much more be aware na oje 3,500 wo ma obakwana na yere so ni adwuma
3,500
depression na de be ko wo di wan gada petesi ni na so for beka ho
what did they
apetesi. So Alaska is way so we need to train people say you cannot always be job seekers.
Exactly.
Be a job creator and have the capacity to employ others. Entrepreneurial skills and for no adults training. There are a lot of stuff that you can do, especially with this advance of social media. Man, for the year we know you can also use it to promote business. Some of the ladies obi Ntim Keke, obi Ntim Tadia Pam, obi Ntim Way. How do we empower these people to become job creators? Sabi almost bet me training other people. Sabi the focus will not be me pa baya juma me pesa me ko police. Uko police na katua esan. Police na man for tia bribe na me ko police o me ko police o akatua esan. Me ko soja we are ye see SS dormitory na mpasisi wa tata so sabro san no soja ni awa babonte bi na kwakwada enti me pesoja kutua bribe na
Inspector Koti
Alaska. We need to train people say na we asna ye wom no young people can create their own job and become owners of enterprises. You understand?
Well.
So government is ready to boost and ensure say finances will be available over the years. Mistake I and say some of these things, we don't look at people with the qualities. So we look at constituency executive. Sana Emma Masrog a useless enterprise.
Oh,
Masrog mfas will be end so a chrono avenue.
Messi, I'm not catching so say a Masrog. We call Eastern Regional. Yeah, say regional executives me no pe sika wo maji wo Masrog o mentua no. Ye bo kire wa uyambe.
Yes.
That's right. Uyambe show.
Yes.
And very soon we shall publish their names.
Na say NDC person ma me no so ye na so kwatana ma no up to no so my
that's right.
That's right. Always been with the way ya create say a avenue. Ye the we sika na say the support party for the party ni so je sika na dwe ne say Otumfo na adema no.
That's right.
But these are enterprises, they are very people with the genuine skills. That promote them, they don't get it. You understand? So this time round, I think that the playbook must change. Na enquire lip service keke. Na you making sure say genuinely me say I don't care whether the person is MPP or NDC.
No.
As long as the person is a Ghanaian.
That's right.
And all the requisite skill set to prevail, let's help people because at the end of the day, Ningina will have impact on the growth of the economy. You understand? But over the years, party for no mudim the kakwaji sikano or no omia juma bia or na no never kakwaji.
That's right.
Or Giana wedi. wonya no hwe nya ye na maslog bosses no mutu on so krono because omanfo awia no ntu wia osoro
ho free for all.
Exactly. So over the years, some of these enterprises, and kofa akufo adopens why ye ne those kind of wedding, you know, ebe now by extension of party offices. Yeah, the doli sika to party supporters and that's for no. I know the day ubeko books no over millions of dollars a year, but there is no single entrepreneur will be able to make creative baby. So this time around, you know, Ghana for at the end of the 4 years they will come to judge the government. Now, no, you see, said the euphoria is high, people are happy, but don't be mistaken. A time will come, Ghanaians will sit down, put pen to paper,
that's
and
right.
review this government from day one, the entire 4 years. So the over and no homework now for the Bema. That day will come. We are all sitting here. So I think say we need to do things right. Then making sure that this time round, no Ghana for nuni ho. So to Abama buying, now or to Abama buying some for so baso. There are a lot of stuff happening at Yahubi Pen. But that's major focus has to do with this fight against corruption, this kind of stuff. You see. Me say John Mahama buying we say $1 echo 1 cedi. There are a significant number of people of Ghanaians that they don't care.
That's right.
What I say, the omo party and this a cromfo no mo we sika no.
Ya chewo.
Omo for mo ko jail. Na no be catch them say hey, opa ma John Mahama nsi abrosan ma efie bia amfa no. The one he say omo mo we sika no.
Ya chewo.
Go to jail. That is a sacred responsibility that is imposed on this government.
That he need not to fail.
No. Because Alaska, over the years, you created a certain culture. Be a Ghana there, a bind there, Obia we are fan hoodie. Obia we are not fan hoodie. And now, Branty, your mochini, here, Sabian, Quasasamoti seller can say,
that's right.
Or Sikano G and Chichama political party. And now, when you weak people in the media also some of these things. Alaska, me, I do what he's we are, no. So the financier Mahama say, on the 12 year Mahama Banta, I don't care. What I know is when we are Sika, and that is what matters. Sika no we are no, Opa, the Kosiam, the Sama, Kwame Kroma, Opa, Wine, Opa, NDC supporters in our video, Mamma Metiam, Family. The bottom line is, Sika, you stolen money. And what you are not supposed to use it for, no, that's what you use it for.
So no say who say oh yeah then I'm moving na twedum and some all back can no back.
And I catch us uncle for we nim nyansa.
O da bi o
because say our lawyer na
the lawyer ni attach
client twiro say be nkwasa say mo egu paper so na say wo sanhye more dey we babble ntia e kire how weak minded these people are. I've been telling you, these people have been hyping themselves, but their intellectual capacity is very low.
More poverty of intellect.
Poverty of intellect, but when there's severe poverty. Alaska, severe poverty of intellect.
But serious, oh, we are crofo munim nyansa.
Alaska, and you see, Mafasika, Name you know, that has been the old playbook of criminals around the world.
8 million.
Yes, Alaska. No, it's a criminal's philosophy. And the war come here. It doesn't my history. When Papa be a normal friend, your friend saying, not Tom Kocaine or Colombia, normal friend, Pablo
Escobar.
There is no single person in Colombia, not or your Papa Chino. Alaska, or more better no. And Krana Mamma for no more born hobbying because the guy will go and sell drug, kill people, make all the money, or buy do Christmas. I know what it's a politics, not if you or Chichama here for that. What this has always been the criminal's philosophy. El Chapo in Mexico, and also one of the most intelligent drug baron in the world. Honestly, that was the same thing he was doing. I tell you, cry, see, Kroma. Yes, this guy know we are not the boy man for more in the area. A criminal's philosophy.
I'm robbers. Elders one. Sorry,
Alaska. So they are all canon. You are not reinventing anything. It's an old playbook.
Yachiwa also. And as Scano, me to the animal mudia. And
for Bia, hey, or Perkrana, or the Kunyane Kwame Nkrumah saying, or Baba next week, you can fire. The bottom line is you stealing money, and we need to be very ruthless and deal with some of these.
That's right.
And in somewhere air cost we sanction Ghana for before the more. What I say?
That's right.
So I'm calling on the Attorney General. Say, our responsibility where they are shining say he should not afford to fail the people of this country because the John Mahama Baye Bia in the entire 4 years, you know. if he doesn't jail people, Omowie Esika Okrom ha, Ghana for would never forgive him. And that is Utia Bontia.
That's right.
The sentiment being expressed by the people, you know very well. Hey, if these people don't go to jail for the crimes that they have committed, one, you send a signal, say your own people will come and do the same thing. You understand that? And you'll be begging for clemency in their stead when that time comes. You understand? I think that this time round, in Ghana for Donaniate, sa games, you know, we need to make sure, say, Obiodun in Sabo, for instance, Cecilia Dapa.
That's right.
But be a sassy no nya, you know. Mekacha said these people are so damn to the extent that you ask yourself, say, Nipana or no. What we are dollars, Akogunem passing on Obiako we are beer. What you mean now that Jaco police station?
Report na Misika.
Yes.
Ada oye diabolo.
Yes. And a police for no so who can for so a tyranny or Obia Baba can't say we are $1 million or me them. No one parampa wedding a cheat. A quack penny for cratching at the cockot. At the so be a ba police station our catcher say, me the nipati me free Jimmy by Obia Beggy. Because Alaska, we are talking about yes.
Oh yes, they are not serious.
Yes, because $1 million in an individual home. How? When your bank and now your house is not a bank. We have financial regulations. How much of this forex you can keep in as for no more. So to say you have more than $1 million in your account, you know, you need certain authorization from Bank of Ghana. Actually, why you should keep that particular money there? And in the first place, the forest is not our money.
And I am one was say Banisano. Would a month for so movie so much to move a defend? They said, to the sense, I found your name so. Nasa Obiamba Cassin Nisika.
Alaska, I'm a catcher. Kromano.
Freddy blame more.
A man focus young, I will mention Kocaine law elsewhere to advance the cause of society. Hano. Sometimes who will be to TV no some way a lawyer without a lawyer and idea and I do the and how much sometimes it's so shameful, you understand? Because sometimes some of the argument people activate on TV and then me say mean time here TV how because some of these your friends saying silly analysis in this change the GN as a for no. I don't have time for those things. But what you want be fool the penny power who say nipa way when him there no can't say and say TV so you know sometimes it doesn't inspire. So for me I think sir this duty is sacred one. Okay. We need to make sure sir ahotoswa Ghana for nya omodo ko deal like so to abama President Mahama no. So far in the last 120 days, you know, he has demonstrated sufficiently that he's indeed on top of the job.
Right.
And he's willing. He should not waver. And one has to do with what is going on our Chief Justice side and then the Supreme Court in Alaska. You see, apart from say jail people who have stolen our money, you know, institutional weaknesses over the years, you know, has been very overwhelming.
That's right.
We cannot afford to move to the next stage of the Ghana that we seek. With the same weak institution.
That's right.
We need to restructure this institution. That is why we are president at this time. You need to be very strong. Extremely strong. We ward all of them off. As long as things you're doing are right, situating the context of law, you know, say you are not infringing on any constitutional, your friend is saying, rules of Webi, you are good to go. You do these things, posterity will judge you.
That's
you understand?
Right.
Because we cannot be shaped by this unwitty criticism by some of these weak-minded individuals out there. Sebi, recently, or more exerted power. And I find your market and go aboard enough to tell us how they are patriotic. These guys are sick.
Serious.
They are sick in the head. Alaska, quite few days ago, their course or country has said they were on the other side defending all this nonsense happening in this country.
That's right.
How dare you? They are just mocking Ghanaians, and the MPP have the infantry to say save the judiciary demo. More bottom. Alaska, we need to be very serious.
Save the judiciary demo.
Save Chief Justice demo. Alaska, we need to be very serious. In the last 8 years, they are causing Okroma, and these were the people who were spearheading it. We are sanitizing the judiciary today because of the indiscretion and certain foolish decisions these people did by imposing on us, some individuals, Supreme Court appointment in promotion and their time. Individuals party or former party way near. Now the judiciary got to that point.
That's right.
People were using the court to muzzle other people out. Yeah, you use court to intimidate. Chief Justice set date yet the ope o kind of chim na nako hair so as o school wiem omu obia o kroma say that kind of araba na won hwe na iconic pictures e social media nya ya hwe bia hwe na no hwe iconic pictures em social media hwe bia na no hwe as if say she's better than obia, that kind of elitist weak mindset looking that na not here. Alaska, we need to get serious. You see, me say we cannot move to the next chapter with this mindset, with these individuals. We need to drop them on the way.
Right.
Obia on your feet, biano. We need to drop them into the water closet. They flush you down the toilet because omu need essence and any relevance to the next chapter of our politics. Ghanaians are focused. See, MPP now when you're marking you serious, and they want Ghanaians to take them serious. You see, they need to rephrase the narrative. And for me, MPP is not learning as a political party. Alaska, now, this is a party who suffered the most humiliating defeat in the history of this country. Alaska, you don't front the party with some of these rascals. Oh yes. No, apart from that, no, they have demonstrated sufficiently. Say these are rascals. They don't appeal to nobody.
I'm a criminal.
Oh yes, Alaska. For instance, party now you should be begging for clemency. You should be begging for acceptance because there is a wide gap between Ghanaians, reasonable Ghanaians, and the MPP because of what I could understand.
The underlying word is reasonable.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now no, you need people who will be appeasing, speaking to unbalance the whole thing. Sabaya, you engender that kind of acceptance before and son about your politics. But then Yakofa Kwabrane no more to man am for time. Alaska. I think we need to get serious.
Ivan Kyei innocence, and I'll take this takes us to have past 5 years live on the radio out on 92.3. And Ghana, Kasana Pempemia Masani Dom Enyanansu Eti. Na Maminka say breaking news Abbas says President John Mahama order the finance minister say first year students are ometua omu fees dadano. There should be a refund. Yemfo musika emfa emawom. AB Bright Samri ya confirm no say mayor ya confirm no Honorable Ransford Boachi also ya confirm no say mayor ewo New Jabe Metropolitan Assembly ukopiem ewo Yilo Krobo nso a omatumi nso a confirm the DC ya owo honoma bibia nso aye kamapa ewo ho. So wherever you are no I am on 92.3 ena Ghana nyina kasa na pempem na masa ni edom nyina etie mame enko the draft kwanza
yeah
everybody 49 million disclosure shocking and scary Ntim Fordjour yanko.
I think all the disclosure has been done by a friend Ivan clearly no we so in some so say wakwa dan subampa sumaboni edi na odo nsa akakobo aban sikem na uba be wia uba be twen uba be kire kwan so a ufa ya udi sika no e na omo sika no ekokodi wo mo no na say bota frache say o ma etu anamo na de sefa oyi eye no
Ghana for politics ase
I don't know what you say ba.
Oh yes. Over the years no na among for free say politics ni ade hu bia you need to attain a certain level of class in society before ansana what get into politics to get to understand happenings. So and that overwhelming public ignorance and war issues of politics na some avenue be reserved for few people, the very few unintelligent people who have access to get into the political landscape,
okay.
They convince everybody say they were really intelligent, very smart people. But now that people are getting much hooked up into issues of politics, understanding, so now they are getting to know these people for who they really are. Very weak-minded individuals. I'm not sure, sir. If you're respecting them, no, it's a big deal.
Respecting them?
Oh, yes. Until Amoka said the young people don't respect it. It's not true, Alaska. You cannot be living this kind of life and you expect to say young people just shut up and say, oh, because you're honorable. No, you need to live up to the expectation before you warrant that particular respect. Because Alaska, respect is a virtue. We earn it, we don't demand it. You understand?
We earn it, we don't demand it.
And then, so what's now for do? That's a head the also on the political arena, the way a manner some people are behaving, the way some are talking. Then that's a fun. You begin to ask yourself, say, Sandipana na ye who are in the past, you know. Are they the same people we are seeing today? In the past, there were a lot of people who were politicians and they were lawyers. We never even heard of it. Me until Sekufo heirs at power. I never even knew Sekufo a lawyer. Oh yes, Mills a lawyer.
That's right.
Oh, who call and son don't know who's a son or away because you don't pride yourself with some of these things. Alaska.
Na do it.
Oh, Alaska. These are things. These are things. When it will click you to act rationally. Sabi a man for say, papa we won him there. But the very moment people get out there and the first thing they show is their credentials, it means within them no, there is nothing that they can do to live up to that expectation. So they need to tell you, say, I'm this before you believe them.
Okay.
I don't know whether
I in the bank kasa. It's just like another do I am for most original.
Yes, because when Kufuor was doing his stuff, for people saw him as ordinary Kufuor, but beneath it, not the gentleman has studied law. But he never stood anywhere and told anybody, say, may a lawyer handle as well. But in recent times, look at the caliber of people who have taken over the center stage. So this Adubuahi way, I'm sure, say, for him to write this foolish Adewe Babontin, he might have definitely consulted his so-called lawyer Atachia. And I'll catch they say, okay, Sikana media there, but me be me to equipment, me to car, me to car way. Alaska, there is no single smart person. You don't court at this time. What your answer, Munu?
And the lawyer, no, do you think, sir? Lawyer, and Obi Crack as one here, no, I will interpret so quantum non-fa.
Alaska. So these are the kind of people I come once them over the years. So you can now understand and appreciate why under Akufo-Addo these people were able to mess up this country to the extent because basic common sense Alaska they couldn't access it. The last time I catch was a common sense and common sense in Chile a common abu. That is not the meaning. Common sense in Chile when you have a lot of options to do as a reasonable human being, this is the common one you are supposed to do. It's very easy, simple to tap in, but it doesn't mean that common sense is common to everybody.
Okay, common sense is common, but not common to everybody.
No. Because as a reasonable human being, for instance, so what they will see a jasuna a shiwa, then what do? The first option. Obey you with nine, because that is the first inclination. Obey you with nine.
Okay, say.
And Obi Onim Yansano. Now they are twice. So that is how it is. So this Aduba himself are okay. Nyansa be a nim, and I make us say, Opa Onka says Sikano Riano, on a Jomahaman Coche D. Opa Onka says Sikano Fine, on a Nana Jane, on the end, 4 Bia. Me, I met hey. Why would need the Sika and family? It does not exonerate you. You're only telling the people. Alaska, yeti if I found the advert, brow boy. I'm from saying. Oh, my advert in the baby. No, gas for NPA for the way brow. They are telling you that advertise them, some their customers better no more about.
That's right.
I don't know why no. Across a watch I did the radio stations, some more advertise them in Nimyansa. That is another word like that. Oh yes. The other boy yes. I had to say watch advert no social media no private say. Nimyansa media na it is how we no nanado appoint you. Yes. Until no minim nyansa advert na oye until you better man. So you ask yourself, say this weak-minded individuals, was the spy chief in this country because the National Signals Bureau, hey, for spy. Of course, and then for private any privacy.
And your papa will no monitor of course.
Access to bank account, every single thing because they have backdoor access to virtually everything in this country apart from the social media. We know say the backdoor access is with them. You can't tamper with it.
That's right.
Yes. So Alaska, for me, this is how we were able to.
Minim nyansa adverts.
Minim nyansa adverts. In Alaska, so don't be surprised. So for me, I think the state need to be very ready and face these people for who they are.
Right.
Like I say, John Mahama bet Messi Abrosanya Magana ni bia ombeda na se. But say if he failed to jail these people for what they have done to this country, the kind of scar or more cutting on the conscience of Ghanaians, Ghana for we don't fit that. And these people must answer for their crimes. Say by Ghana for akuma beto moyem, because that is the reason why I'm for DLI so to Obama. No, it's not about 120 days social contract. No. It is about going after. And Nuntina Ora no gaining a lot of popularity in this country. For Ghana for him say a cromfo be we na cromfo no be we no. Sen komo ni nyansa mpo dia o nke beti obo nipa o nim nyansa no sen wia ne ya.
Nipa ya da.
O nim nyansa no sen wia. Ya chen ade bia. Eni fa won Ghana sofo kasa abufo wo mumu no. Sen ka nyansa na wo sen nyansa ni timi wia. There was a car ya so parking the car si ba bi na cromfo be wura car no. Na kwan a cromfo no fa so 10 no ya no obo ni nsam. Emma cromfo but ni ba no so kai say in the car no de ko. You see that kind of thing. But when there omu nim nyansa e no mu sen wia waka ho. Ye wia o wanim. Owia no ase abaka nsem hunu we ase aka ho na we gya no ho no ko. Clearly e kire say anda akufo ado Alaska Ghana for asofa. Entina meka kire say obi a wotimi live anda akufo ado 8 years bia na se man certificate. All the bedi ho dance say mra bi baaye. Papa bi bedi akomia no so na onim ni left from the right wa bon wa che say we describe na enye
right
ya the Ghana so no man ko hwie yegu amenam I survive under him so me certificate in here we deserve an honor say pension pay bi crowd baby say to Ghana for living under that particular 8 years
but as
say hunu dia ya witness bi
Ivan Kyei innocent nated in Kano it's our 9 minutes to the top of the hour every year some ya be farm course. But the medical culture was a Focus Media Awards, so last day, 6 p.m. for cars. Just so that they are able to move about.
Okay.
To contribute to another. Say, ya come on here top petrol. Innocent came on here top petrol. Now this week innocent and the other call. Next week now the airport. Yes, I'll bet you do. It is as I say no. No, but they say they will be able to to the car because petrol boa from. It goes to a from dollar. This is be a come. They say will be a yet more Ghana.
Oh, okay. Instead of traffic action.
There is too much traffic. If you are not to here, I have spent more than 2 hours in traffic.
Wow.
From Adringano. I just can you John Muhammad and say, yeah, to a swimmer, I can
no theatre. Feel case of the JDM should reactivate the fast track courts as soon as possible. This NPP joking thieves must be dealt with ruthlessly. Tracy Mensa was sister pepe. Okay, brother, so your time no dia kan ye de ma we asa. Na edugwa he letter ya e fly ni sika baby o chiche ye bikum ye sure say we bi. So your comment on it now.
I've really treated it with the contempt it deserves.
Okay.
Yes, because sebi mama check for yes you money mo abasoni adwuma so awo na me chia me nua innocent. No so adwuma so awo ye. Akopon e manaso. Too intelligent and he deserves a lot. Until I knew that we were having a competent, very competent discussants. Until not just who he has a mystery.
There's a what trouble.
Now, say a do boy he found Cassie or this canon crack on man, Mahama, and or the year campaign by year president.
And family.
Till I tell you, we are scanning. As an Yabetina Cotuno.
Yeah.
I tell you, this can be Bois Conhoma, man, even in many a big deal. Into the end. Oh, make us NPP ni, na General, at the said yes, Sebi, and collect the grow one Yemua, while Rebecca Sebia, as a man, Pearl, one someone now. Oh, my Jimmy. What Bokrono and Yatso? Yatso says, Scanogram, me, I am my witty. Oh, what can we? What can we know? What of via counterfeits? Not the court we were just say, a shop, just a menisa. I was down. I toy, and I would see one I was sissy. It was sissy now, a pussy back. And our police in this also one rule. And also tribute. Who could do court as a court? Posting in crown or tribute. Like a better than a person who say, a urine and I want. This is the question. See, kind of where we are. As to who you get the money to, we don't care. Court, no cockers ask them because I say we could catch the judge. There is a judge, you know. So now you know to form to say they're not why do you say judge if we're going to have because of Tokunu or when you know about them. No, corner cockers ask them no court. Sometimes they give me a reason to believe why Nyansan in Indiano difference nation. Adjenenku and
Nyansanko.
Now. Oh, the case asking with the beer for people to avert their minds to one thing, say, yeah, no. Wisdom. They could have given any meaning to wisdom or given any term to wisdom than Nyansa. If you don't have it, you can't apply any form of the beer money here. Say, say, minim Nyansa, a beer, a same beer Americano. Make kind of try without recourse to cognitive thinking.
Yeah.
Common sense. Eti neleto. Ni die yo. E ma ti say e no ma opposition parties.
Go some photo machine by election coalition.
Opposition parties. They are part of the governance structure. You can democracy now.
Yeah.
A multi-party democracy. If they have been beneficiaries of it, show us the illegalities. Then it amounts to your charges. It increases your charges. If you know, say, giving monies to opposition parties is an illegality. It increases your charges. Did you bribe them? If it's a form of bribe, then it means that the one that took the bribe and the giver, they are both guilty.
Yeah.
is gift, there was here about gifts. Say emremuno, I was say taxa. Maybe we can discuss that. But as far as I'm concerned, you were holding a public office. You have been discussed as an embezzler, a thief, a common thief. Your father, Professor Dubois, he was only known historically to have been the good professor. The good old professor died. And I didn't know he was training his sons to be thieves. Thieves. Ne baba ko de afa dem se yeso mo ye ho aduma.
Finance ministry.
Serious.
Ne baba ko. E dey say osafuma fu ye kronfo, ne ma ya kronfo. Edubu ahe ye kronfo, ne ma ya kronfo. Ekufado ye kronfo, ne ma ya kronfo. Kenoforiata, ne ma ya kronfo, ono so ye kronfo. Bedi atwo ne ba ECG kronfo, ono bedi atwo na mu kronfo. Gabi same. Just say MPP no acquire to say a crime scene. Everything they just come about to do no. Acquire say yeah no. Yeah deeply bibia.
Yeah.
Yeah report money of after all yeah property owning democracy. Yeah property owning democracy. Yeah there. The bibia yeah bia no. We should be averting our minds to only one thing. How do we own properties? And omo namna a conservative for the property owning your friend is a Democrats. Jake, no, just a buying sa senior a buyer padia, and Ramitie, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Then you shut at no good leader would allow for ne subordinates. Say, oh. O manager padi e mon tonton na mon fa na me so mama bi onye se ya oba ya ni o ma kochiwi kese enra me hwe 120 days awadi now we share the conversation now it's as if he's accounting for about 8 or 10 years stewardship.
Yeah.
And the accounts he's rendering no he is being very submissive to the core. Say he sees himself as a servant leader, and he or answerable to be bia or pledge here. Any the one pledge and so why
Sure.
or can the SCA about the obeto ye any baby aqua drew. This is leadership. And you say, acquire MPP the bar bemwa. Yen ya the calabule kwaso, bad report money off. The abano, I was what ye crampo, sebi ba yenka, he blocks a hood to mamma ye, to a so many pale. And then the second or the year, and then my melodina, my free mommy pa, Mamenciano, papa. I feel, no, or baby, but yes, you are all born. And yes, so
no, you're silent, you. On the Ube or commission.
Or your papa crana Kocaine Bontiana and the book.
Aye, made him say yes, I don't
on Pesa. Or see, we are dear
man, we you
know. Why are dear crowd done as a crown? Mommy, baby, I will be a child. Now, so share near Koso in the past now. The only thing that solved this whole problem. When we say encourage dina Koso na da ben yedi we be kokko da ben yedi we be. Oh, you say opre wo a pause a mojaba. What you say? But your mama or to say President Kofo and frama or the hubu padi a wonya. The President Kofo can say me some time ago. Almost say and so share and fenipa and so you the fenipa. Now what the boko eguswe ja aboa tatia send ye be ya obetimi ayi ne nso.
Yeah.
Enti the me who say on Rashi enkoti because Professor Mills buy no not John Kofo careless adekum Kofo of a coffee na wa makot ho no maye sandwich kama who dey asem quarter pa ni aboato agu enti me wo fanum kwesi o say je num na satam ne de na me tame wo fanum agi pa na me nim se me wo fanum na omo aya lebe kakranti ti wo say cases ne quarter ni abrosko
ni aboato agu
ema asabi num die nyina
ya ebotugui
e che na professor minister say oh munya monka na omugya ma ne kai enu na NPP eba abamu biemu no omudi timu po bi ba say ye wi akora na we jo mahama oba huntimi nye
ya mpake court
with impunity no yenye de ebetimi na fe no se ko ba kra se na adwen sesa ye mpake court no se ne be ya court no ya sen koduru ho a omo ye yan nkofo a omo so ye no omo na committed crimes no because Akufo created a syndicate a Kronfo syndicate what in the busuafo na yonkofo e na hyehyehye ba bia eti asamba sese ya hwe in the case of Kisi Ejaben Kisi Ejaben e hye na adwuma ase no na gadi hey me na mde okotena ho ye careful e ma Kisi bufu no e ma ne ye se wo ye na adwuma uni say he was threatened at some point his life was in danger.
Yeah.
He's not able to tell all these things because sometimes he feels it's part of the hazards of the job.
Yeah.
Occupational hazards. His life was threatened 3 months to the election. Now he said that he had to flee out of town because omo pene kunu den. Se ya kasa nyame na ya adu na bai fofra ba ka Kisi Ejaben bi akwa lose in life. Obi ti baby na adwen ye ne se na Kisi Ejaben wonya adwuma. How can you work as obi a wokoche Kronfo e wa Akufo abem when he the president is was a thief? The one that you are working for no is the thief, and he has some other syndicates omo na ebo kro no. How could you have worked under Akufo Jomama baye mo Kisi Ejaben adwuma obo more than a silent killer. Say you so well prepared or in a juma. And I'm not for Yabotre. Maybe say first now me punk up pentem seriously. Say Kadia Chin Yanka Mama and Yamu Street Muniamu Bomb, Papa Mano, the real Pamo Kubusa when we call from 40. What's in a bonny abono? There's also Mama who say if we are seeing the Yansa and Yabia. All right. And in India, I can't 1 minute. Manu Sieno. Mumma in Yabotre, media for 2 never say. Yen Mummy and Yabotre. Domahama.
Na botano ye dru baby anhwa ye nya biemu.
Oh yes, but say no enya dru baby e wo say ye nya botre umi nya botre Domahama me te say so be bibi e fe the national tribunal.
Okay
e ho no ye du ko gina ho a na atu no nya me because sebi oral over 2000 petitions akọ oral anim a wabo e chama attorney general the able and most learned Happy before ya no mu dwa manum no mu kasa no mu yayi mu wo bi a oye doctor te say Dr. Yenia o ni mu mra mu fa de metre so an koto certificate ni podia NPP lawyer nyina he wo mu koye demonstration o mo certificate o mo toye o man go school eti law no mu nim all they know is the judge. They have always relied on the judge enuntina hwe nipa dom a o mo Emma or more appointment and San Omufra Bemu illegally no. Ye use Sanko for Bebre na di no. I don't know man ko demonstration. Between Sanko for Bebre na ye o madi no. So mo do mo party ma no mo pe o masem a. I don't know man ye demonstration. Na to konu ba akopɛ. Ya wono wodi ne nsa akobɔ aban sika mu di from. The sesa bi ma po hene. Nyakopɔ afa ne kra ensie abomu. I didn't know sir.
All right.
Let you know, me manu si na mam ahobrasiemu na no crop ye di na woda. Na sene crop ya di a woda ne fefe no. Na na nyankwada nyakopon entoni nkwandem. Na sebi ye nya ne so mfa so se de o man nya ne da.
Okay.
Matese ye se won si me kotina fidie so ma ohene afisia pa. Nti me ka asisudu a wafidie edu kumase. Du menhia. Me ba na ahemfo mienu bi frefre ne se my late me ka no.
Oh message kura wa ha.
Nti me gina afidike sie so na ahema maso nan e de enkrato akọ krobi ahemfie na mama no na nyankwada na Nakopon emma ne nkwatenten se ne be ya ye benya ne so mfa so bebre odin fie wo ha na me anya de wo so ma ne di ohane akire se ne be ya ye benya ne so mfa so fie bebre wo nanimu a wo se sabi yetimi edi nya ne so mfa so nti ohene na no pe mi gidi se wa fidie da ha mawo awoda pa na watwi nyina edidi wa woda eno no eye wells Otumfo
Hey, the week you on. Okay, but me da say papa. All right, bra Listowel me da wase. Bra innocent so me da wase papa. Wo bom paye ma Otumfo e de. Me paye bono de me de be ma baba Ibrahim Mahama. Na no akwede ya asuni yonko school ni ko bo na ni tuo no. Nyame adom wakan o de afa ne so ama yenu aba no nyakoto. Enti baba Ibrahim Mahama so e ko nhira na yeshira ni bi nyame yeshira papa nti na ade baba no baba na se kire baba guda
aka 10E1
na no obi be ye video bi o se mo sare amu didi ntafo atem enso Ghana ha obi aho kire na 10 ya nim na mo ya mo ma ye fo obuo ni ane di ma ye ho kakra
oba se wo hwe mu pa mi se mi ye 10
na say
because asantini bi enu height we me ko free
Baba John that note ya na munya se ya be adu ochina thank God it's Friday ye be share o height no we di free no
senka we no ka kane na ko bia short the pushes nyame aye ya don na se say
height ya babu a
na wo hwekofo a
wo hwekofo ya munyi ya free
wo hwekofo dia na che say ye nyina ya ye ntaf
za ho
kane no ne ye kosre se bi mema kentina wa free stream
no money asante form
enti media in fact me hu 10 ya no mani age papa
that's it pa cha chira you be share
enye 10 ya kamenwa
esewa
ese ko bayeli
me sore anopa bia ne me dem e wo control I won't hide it anyafo association no we are come to take over MPP near the MPP about power 2028 and market ekuo no MPP for your break in the Japan obia one ne benya asem bia wo MPP mu no one na na akomia ko ye o so na feed na na akomia one na atosinya problem na atosi udrose kakraka me na na me hwew one ya adoma ko ba fi o se ya adoma ko ba fi ye hiani me ho na agi skato aduane di one chairman kutia wanya ne ba bi ko ogu so da adakam sikani bi anchen chairman kutia what is our kasada se chairman kutia support no nti one papa na ya aka besin na o mon ka asemfo mienu papa na wu she frigim because chairman kutin ko support to bahumia nti one na ya aka that is Canada Japan for you what is here one how come say teacher ni yani tisel ka teacher ni yani se kanya me Canada Japan ka wo how come say teacher yani tisel nyame kwa na me ko gi post ewa akofo ado ma wa ka wande be ma post meaning say akofo ado nim ye oye no Canada Japan a nka akofo ado ni adwen say oba aponte ha wa kumtin mu nyina mo te ha wa kumtin yesu no teacher ni yani tisel insulting teachers o trade de na wo me na ma obedi MP me na ma waduane MPP mo to aduane ama obia wa finance party ni cha obia nya bia me bisa wo na nwumre da bia ma finance MPP ma finance MPP no wada sorry da kurubi ma Canada Japan afre MPP fo nyina se me nso we na manya afre MPP wo what be da me bisa wo on TV da how evil and devil utobia oyensikani bre ahoyiya baye dambo jimie is number 1
there be a whole dey be yefru dambo jimie
film
ye be yefru and no ya will sit here
utobia ahoyiya sikani bre ewonu mu a eye yewura Canada Japan na yimi yewura na free ho oye dishonorable person wa feed obia wa MPP mu
including you also we are very ungrateful
tie me no wo din koma nka se what say ne nkrofo I am the type of keke me target to say me no wo ko a o errand boys I don't respond to them hwem ye that is why I mean do mahama ontimi defeat me wo no ontimi defeat me that you know why me no son to come a o boys no I have no time because boys in the south officer boys here and to boy baba di matema na abranya masora nopa na ma correspondo uko bo bi pa say brabe di abranya ta abranya na ma me I don't do that me nya bi krada da bia me nya tena hyehyɛ nipa we I'll fight you
ohun nipa bia no ka asema meyi na no menya sora no pa keke Kocaine kansa mawunam kwaku kansa mawunam wo bonsam won krofo afiri nkyɛn bia no menti wo masem
but no wa ka platform so unity
ye call presidential election we wa boka na say food soldiers sign na edifri kofo penso besin ne Canada Japan abo mo a dabioa no oguso ka se ye moa food soldiers oma ye food soldiers mako 10 kofo penso no onyaye na nado penso ni onyaye a odi ahwe food soldiers no man na oma ye yie mako 10 ma ye peten pe enipa mako du kofo penso adokodoko dia onyaye nyina na nado mfie nwotwa dokodo ma ye MPP 10 wo mo ya full soldiers wo mo wo fam a na wo nibi na wo Canada Japan wo na wa pagya wo mo ma ye yie ma ye hu wo mo ono ka ungrateful meboa or ye devil because when you devil kofo made you who you are today kofo what the kofo to fam wo Ghana ha motia brochira motwi tachi amommo rewu ye nyina mo ba kroma na mu nikapreo motia brochira wotwi tachi ama ommo rewu ye no na mu ni hwe kofo na de Ghana street light nyina ma wo contract ewi akire no wo want bi kwana de kofo fa so what ya na want
oh me who say me who saw the year issue I forgotten what it was because I did no enya issue be at
the kofo to fam
later apologize me see bbc
the kofo to fam ungrateful be chance
hence you can use ungrateful but adjective devil
or a devil
devil I was a bit you
wo suro no wo MPP mu no they should tell him say me kwame bafo abronye me breaking down but they are all kikan. I'm not going to respond to the errand boys in the back crow. Me sorry anopa bia ni me pesti we say wom. E between me no Canada Japan. This time me nya sorry anopa ni me pesti twitwiri manim wia. E sikafo ne ahiafo ntokwa. E na say asori wa MPP mu. Na mado danko akofo ado. Ye ba power yai. Wanti atemodi akofo ado. Wanti kwano de akofo ado fazo. Nano ukotia 1 million meboa. Ukwano enam se wo ye evil nti.
Me sibe use just say your words. Your adjectives no there. Can wasem the ye adjectives no efri. You can say
enam se wo ye evil nti. Ukwano unim ka Julius Debra abo MPP mu. What throughout the 8 years in opposition, the number 1 financier in NDC, Julius Debra. I am telling you, and Stephen Opuni, the 8 years NDC opposition, the 2 men who Nyana Mahama wan paso, sa omoni pa or the Onua Mahama bedi president ya. Mahama will tell you say, Julius Debra. What said that could be all your donation or the camera cosiniso. One Julius Debra. And this internal donation or the camera about TV so that and no natural say or doniku meboa mo na no kotua 1 million meboa January this year January 25th Yewura Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia donated 2.1 million to the new patriotic party. Bawumia or donated 2.1 million. Or say me mfa ma TV show kude or say monye na mo fan run party no expenses biya wo ho ene e ka biya party ne de no Bawumia donated 2.1 million one free TV for one free obia o kude internal operations no ene trase na dwum da o na no ko donate 1 million Ghana cedis no o free BBC for said ebaya Ghana for ne MPP full soldiers be hu say ekuo no Canada Japan na the only person or MPP no free BBC for or free Fox News for or free Al Jazeera News for so momra emehwe say Canada Japan me na mini o me kwa koma MPP 1 million. Such an ungrateful and unpatriotic leader Woody 1 million econo 19 December 2024 na supplies ya waye no wo ECG utieni ye supplies our supply electricity materials our supply ewo ECG Electricity Company of Ghana na 19 December ata ebra ya to aba MPP elusu aye kofie no na anta ne transitional team no atua honorable Kennedy Japan ka ECG alone 645 million Ghana cedis. What is offer BBC for? Mibisa, what is say? Offer, I am telling you today. Also a honest person, but I call him dishonest person. Say, time na do a bang any finance minister, former finance minister, Atta. 645 million Ghana cedis. Adiama one contract a we o ECG no 19 December 2024 no bacho ofre BBC for ofre Adum TV ofre UTV for ofre Joy News ofre Onua TV ofre TV3 ofre Pan African TV ofre TV Africa ofre Asempa ofre Wuntumi ofre Movement ofre Asasi Radio dabi sa ofra o mo se Ghana MPP for mo ma show mo na nado abaso na contract ya me ye wo ECG alone 19 December 645 million aminanta otiazo onwu ye ye tua scan ma Kennedy eno de no publication or did just 1 million eba MPP aso ye no ofre wiasin centrofo nyina se be ya or the best fanfuli a fanfo no na fanfo na wo se Kennedy Japan ewo akomapa edema MPP wo ye wagadrini wo ye kalaburani wo ye dargani wo ye dishonest person. These are hardcore facts. I am giving it to you today. On family waso me say the way Messia handle sa papa na wasin insen dade okroma no me de mensa benkum na bechi na gino ke na gwene nyina gu Debbie oso e bema me dagota mo me want to say me poster number be say me president edi me dagota m
but we enyan tokwa
no masa o fa show
and am say enyan tokwa
what do wa gro de me de ba yo anumre na ma toro
enyan tokwa
anya mi ano na me kamasem
enyan tokwa
yeah. We just 645 million no. Fakwa kontabuo mu mo mass nye no. Na nado danko Akufo-Addo ne ma o contract no. Atembe ni wani na nado danko Akufo-Addo. What is Kennedy ba bontin da krokra be ka say manya aduma o ECG na contract am ni yese. And one so bien na no and a minister when hwe full soldiers and wona yedi aduma ma as a businessman, as a party member, would sikana hemfafo na ade hwe omo 645 million December 1 million na ade bre MPP for wusi wiase nyina hwe se Kennedy Japan ekoye donation sa nipa no onye famfu adwene da ne tim se da bia nipa nka se ono nko ana oye bibi na pa de contract ne ma no fi so nim nyansa say obeye press say na media ma Kennedy Japan so no to mfa meboa full soldiers on nyasa where ECG alone go to Kokobo nano amanfo 10 yo how evil afena obeti evil
let's say evil not there which mu tai person obeka na platform
wo ye evil
member won ka evil
ye evil
member won ka evil no our platform
to
our subscribe you
na nipa no eye nipa boni nia sabrofo na won pa atwi de obepe nipa no ye within nia se ukokoko bodo a e wona obehu say we ECG baakofo MPP fo mo sam fifire MPP fo mo sam fifire anopa ahomate campaign 2016 mu no eye millions utemye MPP fo mo sam fifire Emma MPP bar power 2016 constituency executives, polling station executives, electoral area coordinators, national executives, identifiable groups, and so on and so forth. Our mama MPP bar power no obi enya just 1,000 Ghana cedis contract, just 1,000 Ghana cedis obi nyai. But Cocoa Board also no or 600 million cedis and also nano or Kokotana Lodina ho about a month ago. Canada Japan may challenging in Nanumre Nana Nado Suntian here and then some or Kokafana Nado Honey Baumiaho. Me the press be a sort of Dani Babo, a pejatre view. Say a month ago, Canada Japan Kotana Lodina nim. Akachire ni Lodina say Nanado aye nipa bonini na nyuma oye nyina no Nanado danko Akufo-Addo antuaka enti Lodina mo muntua ma no mi wa na Cocoa Board wo matua bia ma na
ba abronye we do de a serious allegations I can't
say o catch that why it you o ma me nipa na me bon de onwuye nti say oye kwadwofo no verify
why then we Lodina?
Yes, me say a month ago Canada Japan call Lodina ho fie and Lodina Nanado danko Akufo-Addo kotena ho say Nanado danko
na won komo
oh mpacho me when MPP was in power, most of information any security for no more rely on me. You have no idea. Ntimi awano.
Sabi bi ndim ho hwe tie sabi bi
na me ka kire no me na me ka asem kire wa fa ne se wo no yire dampa so.
Ana be ne yire dampa so ya na obi.
Tie. Cocoa Board sika wo kwa omutia ECG man December ya no. Saka Cocoa Board so contract. Okoye na ode na Nanado kotena Lodina fie. Na o sopa no. Say Nanado ye nipa bonini obaye no achemfo contractors nkoa na ohwe wo ene ayi kenofurata na duma oye nyina na omantua ne kan ti Lodina nhwe na omuntua ne ka ofiri wa na information ni buro ye what the 600 million 645 ba akofo enipa dodo eboa MPP Cocoa Board 7-8 years de se boy edu Onua Antonida adwuma bia wo Cocoa Board no yemfa ma Canada Japan Cocoa Board de se boy ho na so koto ada contractors ya wo mo so pa adwuma ya onkasa omo ho ono omo eyaka because na ni brade ani bra honhom ye den ewo no mu sa wote se o attack si obi ana MDB a na wakwa akopa adwuma na omo se no say ye the way ama nti me yemfa we so mani pa atwumasi oba ya na wabebo pa na media phone ni disasi okuratem sa minister koronatem sana na oye okroma bema okoye wakwa disi na Nanado sa atemfo anya ni papa adwuma wo mo ye bia no nti Lodina mmoa no ufiri ho asem no yate a month ago Ome pejanin sase last month wanko Lodina wanko country say Cocoa Board sika no so muntua manana and so what is Nanado wo no dina tem da bia wanka so wo Cocoa Board contract e wo bi o ECG a aminanta atuaneka aminanta ontiase aminanta Mohammed aminanta ontiase otiase owie ye no wasande MPP hunsem akroso koha masa Osime onu no mame pickup ana V8 on tiapo in the first place. Canada Japan let me set it on record say 2016 on my party be a pickup. And I'll tell you why. To say be a ukeke, you are a businessman. One ma bon thing. Now mum upe MPP. What you say? And a businessman for na. Businessman for nyina yere.
All right, Wood to be TV so still on the Wood to be radio 101.3 meet you.
businessman for nyina omo wo MPP mu no wo mo ye say yentuatua sika na yemfan topicals na businessman for no tuatua sika at the topicals ya na se wo no wo na wokoko fa ba ya wo se ye wa eno na odi adoma ko ba fi atem wo ho ewie ya oseme man support me so wadi matem. Now come to the money. Me sire ni skada. Canada Japan unim di na the frame. So a honest person or frame abronya de ohiani stubborn proud. E dina Canada Japan the frame. Or frame ohiani stubborn proud. Me sire na de da sem nim so ro city. Me wo ho na half time 2020 2 or frame so honorable secretary half time secretary or frame so honorable Canada Japan ehia mene ni mie no ene ekodura na so unua wone secretary wate pa aba omia abo afa won pese omutu nam ka chense me ba omia ntumi akofo adu ntumi nyere entumi wa hu sha ni ntuturu asemunti ya betena ha sisi ai odin krofo aba wuntumi ha so mmese program
Devi obi ha
aya Canada Japan na asoma se wo mo be ye ntuturu ase wo mo na gina gate o sisi ai
obi ha answer program no na abom no sisi no
yeah mani pana hu se Canada Japan boys in Asante region. And now that tell you say unity turn na sundue nim no e no na na and evidence ya show say Canada Japan asoma ne mrantie say wo mo me wo me sekan wo gina ni wo
abroye
wo gina ni wo sisi
obi awo sekan
na me no madi
abroye obi a
enko me body
David
sekan enko me body o
digina
me say e wantie na wo gina ni wo nyina Canada Japan na asoma so me wo me sekan me sekan
ma membre
sekan e this boy
e bia the call for akansa because he was responded to no mate eye kwasi kwate mo class yes you speak when you on Bauria Onua kasa so your ungratefulness and the musa dodo Onua I read about it somewhere it bia will respond to that yeah fine so be it na because adjectives
Onua mrante no ma begina gate
oh bia party party for there be that
omo di tuo ene ase
you do stage no but ashafo I don't know the ama nkomo we koso no it started what meba and so we did form there be abroye we did for bia emba ha I had no
the Japan no person better no on this show no what we did form
small we did for
Mexican body way
abroye e bia waka made ungratefulness no where you are no so okasa wa ba osika and for
let's proceed let's
I think you spoken at Atlanta
what to me na me ko ada isusu anya etim dazi wotie party businessmen etuatua sika la bianca tuabi chairman Kocaine 2016 pickups no onu nko atua mako oto mako 103 wa money dini wo ba biada nano wo ba president no chairman Kocaine se ono de wo ba omia wona ne ya aka kopense papa na ye den ewu wan kasa no homa papa na ogusu she fridge because wan support to chairman Kocaine reason ni say ono na 2016 pickups no wonyina ba bia mo ni dini da wo de so ase kotobra wo beduru ya wa no odini ntina odi kan ko radio so say odi pickups aba na papa ne person due nti ose me ma bontin me challenge so ye trofo na ninguase ayeden aba wo MPP mu enti me ye din kakọ enti wo bepe aba no ana wo ko no wo say wo pese ogina se fra no ose me na me ma osika se koto pickups me na ma osika se koto pickups na pickups na wo koto no wo be wo bom din da wa mo na den 2016 ni chama wontumi no manyi sika amwa ye kwatamale I was used to organizer then. Chairman Wuntumi so omo ma donation no time I want to me pay money that time and so nipa ba ko ba boten be ka say e yo no nko a e na finance tamale conference no na ye wie no ye wie yo u frame 2023 and I be sam say
all right, you would to be TV, so ADA would to be radio 101.3. So ADA.
Before I tell me about, let me say this. Tsunami incident and patch. So yeah, me my happy.
And because you have a case because
tsunami incident in TME. Tsunami incident in see no. And near or yeah was tsunami no mankasa.
That's not almost
David tell me. I get change your own man was say Kennedy called me 5 a.m. No catch so I didn't see what brekum no wanya de into a hotel ewo Elizabeth memra ho ebo 8 ya me corner bobo ya bi cross home nti abobo ya no cross home no ana me friend say me ntimi ma na oba the last program I de ba bu akwa no na so yempe ba na so yeduru kumase ya because wo frame a wo se wanya ade no matwa bibia so wo frame na so wogya fa no ade na si ye no men kura ne kura nsori nti Abraham machini enkan yasem nam so yo
because na
mo na frame Wednesday na 5 a.m. nam sinti ade chin so we ya radio stations ye frame nyina no man grant interview and now Wednesday no akọ grant interview asana attack me I send Justin Kodia SMS message. Say, one of the leaders of the party. Kennedy Japan for a very long time. What disrespected party no, a good party no nimase, a radical party no. And to one, Sunyanamo Kasachire man respondo. What granted the second interview. Kodia me catch us a musrona by another 6 p.m. Samanti party leadership nonka. Kennedy Medina or board radio sooner. And then so you have no right. Let me tell you as a general secretary, stay off. You Kennedy Japan because when you saw Babam so candidates stay off. A party from this issue.
All right. Other
issue.
It's other issues.
Many other issues. Men conclude on this matter.
Also, I conclude.
Men conclude
because we can't wear ye. I think that you've had
me one response to a made banning topics. I mean, agree. So let me land.
I know your
and I'm saying let me land. Let me conclude. Could you to me my issue statement say me catch you say Wednesday Kennedy Japan attack me again because who's wrong?
I don't think so.
2023 A plus if you so be running MPP government down. So te ho asem who kroma out here MPP ni bia wa ha enim kwana A plus e de nanado ye de efa so sound nipa no hye na chi A plus ya attack Akufo-Addo no. Ana me reply ni mienu miensa. Na fe le mu ayesi wo kurom ha. Mo ho ada na bia na Kennedy Japan frame. O frame wo phone so say na woni A plus issue be na aba mu ntamada bia mu wo media so yi. Na me say ona bunti kwana A plus edi MPP abane fast won't ye. Oso na wo no kra na wo so da wo defend no. Dia na do aya ma. Can MPP 14 yo. Wo na wo so da wo defend na do no. Dia na wa ya ma meaning say wo na wo finance plus to attack MPP government.
I don't know there. Beba, bidim say MPO 88 no there you know e buy. I knew say Kennedy
A plus as
say MPO obetwe aba minority no aside.
A plus and kwasem pan kwankwa say nipa ebo an man we ni Kennedy Japan. Oti ya na wante. Enti say MPP MP.
Abusuan adwumapa on demand service for
a social commentator outside a youth activist.
Ena ohwemo. Na me hu say dey make bia no untie. So I joined him
to also watch.
And you share movie and I feel no good. I'm saying, a kwanso.
Ah.
Yeah. So it tells you that I mean, Edwano Pasea.
Yeah.
A man for a very good. Ubia ATA show. Titune and your mapa. Udi go akwem. So far no, who said, wahu kana ode ebe mu no ama show bobi aba. Enti ebo abaso.
Nyame ne hene.
Ivan dey say ono no.
Ono be ametia bia o so tia obi.
Generation way philosopher.
Yes. Na say menim there's a certain guy. Oh, was sunyan. Say say kwase anya polytechnic bia technical university right. As our level 300 or so, yeah. I said minim so monitor my status. Thursday, so Wednesday, no, we are one a quabeye, me fan said 300 me post to the next day flyer, and I know I send you a message. It's innocent not coming tomorrow. Now, I said, I flyer, no, I am mammy. Just say, one monitor my status, it's
important. He has really much to give.
Exactly.
Sure. And he's always learning a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes I say, am I coming to the lecture room or I'm also coming to lecture? So I mean, I am managing the commentary. Sure. He has a lot to offer.
Exactly. All right. And see, another topic today, I'm sure say, you cabo bobi swa mau and ra you follow Supreme Court process. Vincent Asefua, honorable candidate. Okay, honorable candidate.
Supposedly.
Or the President Mahama Court to say process na petition no buy ya or start to say obetimi ede apam Chief Justice no Supreme Court and stop President Mahama from sa constitutional instrument na say emra na wode be ye adwuma no o nsi ne kwan kra na wantoa so eno apa na ne ba kwa amanti na wo say omutu sheda omu wie ye na honorable Dominic Kanye no ya attorney general wa magana forty say process ne de enka de President Mahama and the Asha Council of State and the committee in Sasu and it is not going to affect it in any way. And I know the other baby and a process so air coso. I say after that in your say minority so I press conference same your Makabi. I feel the honorable Afenya Mark minority leader saying or who President Mahama said or ye statesman because mainstream politics never cost to 2028 on Kobium. Enti ma NDC mfane ideas and distract governance no na oyi Chief Justice ebe say Ghana democracy innocence
yeah the camera mention what here for and I benka say also no part the political discourse na yeah no yeah it's not just for politics of it keke na yeah but we are shaping the minds trying to educate people sabe bit me take governance say in a contest a bit me a situated this country na yet me achieve the kind of dividend a year as of mine nina whole essence in the say you bet me away economic freedom not just for but for young generation yet to come sabaya or mine number no ebenya so mfaso amomo. But very often, all that surround upon our political landscape now tear some of the conversation. People you have so much respect for, sometimes you draw back because you begin to ask yourself, so on my you see a democracy, a fledgling democracy. Yeah, try to be able to reposition you want to be globally, able to be competitive, a force to reckon with, if nothing at all, within the sub-region. And people who are leading the conversation, the bigger conversation, a driver policy, a shaping minds, and they dictate the pace of our politics. And sometimes when they speak, you find saying the intellectual weakness, the poverty of intellect that they live in their wake. And sometimes, are so shocking and so frightening. And what in China, as a young person, expecting certain things will go the way you expect them to go. Afenyo Markin MPP chief, your friend saying. Chief Justice, this whole petition removal. In the first place, this is a political party, MP, no, as you president. Say the mandate our exercise in the petition, idea man no, unconstitutional. And one breath, ojina court ayedi asem na yenu babia. On the second breath, the same political party is staging a press conference and saying whole lot of stuff. The good question is, when did the MPP become the spokesperson for the Chief Justice? And again, Nipa na President Mahama Baya were you mono, not just Chief Justice. Then saying you're gonna start sticker ahead. There are several other individuals. So why don't you bundle all these people together and say who speaking for them or speak for them? Why Chief Justice? It means you have a peculiar interest. And the questioner now press conference and all cannot say. President Mahama per se or uniform or cover familiar person or a sympathizer of the NBC. So does it mean that Kufuor Mame or buy no a sympathizer of MPP? You see, these are people they just talk cheaply, loosely without thinking because they are very smart and a very sensible person and you are making such comments in public. You will be guided by some of these things because are you saying say Nipa na Akufo-Addo ne buy Mame no or MPP ninti no modern buy is she a sympathizer of the MPP? Is the reason why you are fighting for her today? You see this whole process beginning with the court it's a foolish undertaking because the constitution now framers when they frame the constitution they realize in the exercise of their duty at any point in time anybody can go rogue ni say you veer off. And I'm saying position now occupied they very sensitive, Constitutional framers deliberately created a window. Say when such a situation arises, then a window is created for the removal of the Chief Justice. That power is not vested in the president. That is the first point that we need to make. The power to remove Chief Justice, to begin with, that power is not vested in the president. It is vested in the people of this country. Who feel dissatisfied? And I said they are in direct contravention. I will establish rules of engagement. Who write a petition and send it to the president. The president becomes just a conveying belt. Or just petition you forward to Council of State to establish merit, credence, and as a value in this particular way. The president court because at that point my money here. Now say even that particular call was premature, even from the Chief Justice, because at the point president engaged Council of State, that particular process. My culture say no adverse funding at any point in time can be advanced against the Chief Justice. So at that point, you don't even need to hear her. But for the president to go ahead, now all man a crime man 10 days on far response. At that time, not sure the president himself has been kind enough to the woman. Because I was against the fact that President Mano the opportunity to be heard at that point. Because in young committee level, at that point, the whole essence is young petition, you use a meaty threshold. Council of State is not it's not a discretionary something. That particular thing is a constitutional injunction on the president just to send a thing the Council of State. Council of State and adjudication body. All that they are clothed with the power and they say a meaty threshold say a fete I bet me calling the petition. At that point, and that's more established that then we go to a committee level where a committee in that panel is an adjudicatory panel. At that point, the woman must be heard because the principles of natural justice actually say the accused must be heard. And at that point, constitutional crime insists say at that point the Chief Justice must be heard either in person or through her counsel. It's explicitly clear in the Constitution. And we are MP. Now you say you are just clutching at straws. Not a party no lose badly. They have bad faith. People don't believe in them. They think that the numbers they have in parliament is so useless that they can't use it to advance any conversation. All that you need to do is to shout aloud so that your voices will be heard. So we had the MPP after the elections now. And they go there to stage press conference. Others in fear no more drew her. We fear no more drew her. Abrante yes no more drew the fear like solidarity that is what they are doing because they have no relevance in this modern political dispensation. So they're just clutching at straws, fixating on irrelevant issues just to be relevant. It's the reason why you see all this thing because in the first place, this whole court proceeding is a foolish undertaking. It doesn't make sense because constitution processes that must be followed in case we want to remove the Chief Justice. President Mahama Nasori also Chief Justice. Ghana in the petition and the president is going directly with the provisions. The constitution that is what he's doing. And for me, he has been even kind by listening to the Chief Justice at the early stage. Okay. Well, our country at that early stage, in the process, it's not an adversarial process. Anything can be advanced against Chief Justice. You need to hear her voice. You establish a credence. We now move to next stage. At that point, we can sit and then today, after your marking of all people on the MPP sit behind cameras. And they try to portray, say, they care so much about Ghana to the extent, say, so mama Ghana will break. And I'm saying, say, these are bunch of jokers who should never be taken serious. Because yeah, we were in this country when series barrages of foolish decisions, barrages of foolish executive decisions, and the consequences in here so overriding and so overreaching. Say, baby, Ghana generally. When the president was taking these decisions, where were they? We were out there on the street on a daily basis. Some of us were deemed enemies of the state. Almost anti-government, your friends say, enthusiasts. Always on TV. Naysayers. President Akufo-Addo say Sambala to say exactly. All sort of unholy descriptions were attributed to us because we wanted them to do things right. These were the very people who were leading this country on a foolish course. Today, all of a sudden, after you have been embarrassed so badly, you turn around, come and tell us, you care so much about Ghana. Did you care about Ghana at the time? Abra Ghana seek $58 million. We sat here, we told you that was a foolish enterprise. Don't push our money in. They went ahead and $58 million in their court. Few months after losing the election, you are trying to portray you care so much, you love so. I think you see, these are a bunch of loose cannons hanging on politics. We should forget about them. All that they are trying to do is to sway the cause, shift focus, shift attention on them so that they become relevant in this political space. I think government must remain resolute and absolute because me, I am very much, and Ramans, your friend is Musa Dankwa, team, yes, research. And this research is countrywide research, nationwide. And question is, beside Ghana for the removal of, go and look at the results. 52% of Ghanaians want the Chief Justice out. So if you're a reasonable person and you have respect for the people of this country, you don't wait to go through this embarrassment. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jumama. Oh yeah, Jumama CTV. Who do our workers and why listeners in Asia Empower over bad. You don't go where you are not needed. Me, that is who I am. I don't go where I am not needed or wanted. I won't go. So as a Chief Justice, the people want you out. Petitions have been written. These people post now pointed to the fact say people don't want you. At the end of the day, as a sign of respect, you just bow down and go. You just bow. You can't fight this thing when the people don't want you. You understand? And you see, people it is at the back of series of improprieties. Decisions are also Chief Justice unilaterally to make panel or say you were free over open case. We saw what happened at the Supreme Court and several of that. I have a friend who is a judge, a big man. He himself want this woman out. A judge, we did the judicial. A lot of them don't like you. Very unpopular. And I said this is not the first time I buy about 2 different Chief Justices. President Mahama by Mel's by. Sana George na wood na time so yeah. What is obi kase yenyi no. Na maami ba na what is obi akase obi nyi obi. But aye did ne neema waye. Na kwan a the judicial na ye so unpopular. You see if nothing at all kra this particular way your friend is saying survey ya babontin aye enough testamenta we obi a we reasonable na we well respect for the people of this country. I say if majority of the people if this what they are saying I buy out you go away. But where is this whole hanging on? And what is the particular interest of the MPP as a political party? Is it a case that the woman is there to protect them? Is it the reason why they are doing everything to ensure that she doesn't go? Because for me, she's not the only person who has been affected, even though her position is a bit way, But there are several other individuals, President Mahama Baye, what terminated of my appointment? And why are they not doing press conference? Why are they not fighting for those people? Are they not Ghanaians? So why this particular one? So you see, I think that this is a political party that has lost so badly. They've lost faith. Ghana for need respect for them, and they're just trying to be relevant. So they are just hanging on anything that comes their way. And in the coming days, trust me, a lot of these things will be coming up. And Ghanaians should stay focused. I'm urging President Mahama say he should stay in line.
Okay.
With this particular petition, every single of it, if there is merit in it, this woman must go. Okay. Cleansing this state institution to build trust once again.
Okay. Maybe I try my sima, maybe I Mama, pressure,
Yes, Sam, I'm coming to your show. Please, what surprises should we expect? If I tell you about the surprises to expect, will it be a surprise?
A night of music and fashion. Eat good food and digest with laughter. KSM Masterpiece. Old age is a BITC. Live at the Kempinski Hotel on Easter Saturday, 19th of April. Talal, Lexi, Chemical, and Viana. Buy your tickets now at ksmlive.com.
I'm looking forward to seeing all of you on the 19th, man. Because especially you men, I want to do a tete-a-tete with you men, man. Because I wanted to discuss some very important issues like, you know who the Supreme Commander is? Others call him the Commander-in-Chief.
KSM is crazy. Buy your tickets now at ksmlive.com.
Medal says, one mamma Simana, my charm of more Abbasisia, Bradley so. Young Quay. Nana will see up in me.
Just say, do baby, Anna or my moon seven, say, on my hot dog, na Sebi, a bema, near Botre, say, they abotre drop aboa Tatiani Honesua. The money be over. Anna. Oh, say, Oba, or ye, a shawuniba. On two or worry nearful.
Okay.
What you say? Now, say, ye dream on my own, near and count calling in Puntua. MPP ni the last person also be too full. MPP ni say you say obi MPP ni na ono ekutu do mahama abanfo and I say government of Ghana we hu say bibi kwache ono okoka ono the last person we say obi na no e de ne sia biasa nwotwe eka bi. It's just sometimes so nauseating to the point say according to say womaye Nicodemus say yawo omo foforo ntino nia Ghana for kra remfie no omo pese omo force ma ye refi okay MPP ni to Ghana for any Ghana mine sebi ya banfo MPP ni no I mean about sometimes I said nipa. Oh, you see, this whole thing about the omo yeni nyina no.
Yeah.
Idea bakope. 8 years under that rule of Akufo-Addo ne Bawumia. It was nothing democratic.
Yeah.
They only created what we call a syndicate of criminals. And it was a syndicator. Chief Justice Kahon, a lawyer for Kahon, a judge for Kahon. Now Akufo-Addo sitting in that office, no, as president, no, decided say me making sure say me your friend is saying or mine in such a way say simple me nya mampani a metimi control mine from ifie. Na John Muhammad the son say no ohoro nanim kosoro ntino oba ye no wahwe no aye hwehan because the na Akufo-Addo ye no na the plan is say e was say or hand it over to Bawumia. Say the beya say Bawumia mpo e president a or your president or no Akufo-Addo na controlling no. And unfortunately no John Mahama enya tumi ebedi mampani. And sinto a ewo system ni mu no eno na odi board ru a Yakopon ye na dom Ghana fo su gina so. E ka say car no asay na wo su be overhauling dia and e be ma tumi amwa ba be overhauling ne bro fo ba ko any reset. And I say okay to reset no it means say enu amada da ni nyina ye den atwam ti say no ye ba be ye abode foforo ben election year John Mahama win ye Ghana ni bia say it is the second independence of this country. Because and the Akufo-Addo no na slave masters ne kura pa no ya brofo no na omo ntete yen te say de na Akufo-Addo a ono ka brofo ana broni ebusa de pardon Akufo-Addo slange president broni
wa ya de wabizande
pardon
cancer de hwenim ti
Otimi kasana just broni na ono no
e de brofo ba
broni bra probusa say pardon because what brofo ne ho ama Sebi antelope crowd to me can anchela.
What dear?
Etino, baby, and I could run. Now, Akufo-Addo was even misbehaving more than the colonial masters. Anna, Yaji Fahudi. Yaji Fahudi. Can a phone in a Sebi. Petition the crime, no one say any answer. It's because of some of Yemubi. We were too lazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I have a petition very ready to present to the president about the dismissal of the Chief Justice. And I have never even used the word Chief Justice because there is nothing justice about that institution. There is nothing. What is the meaning of justice? Peri yo anyhow. In the missing a year, you say, me, yawo me birth certificate, no. Yawo me organa honey, a birth certificate, no. Birth certificate, no. So me free India, and I'm a bag Ghana, ha, and I me nimu ye, and I'm a wo ya. I was here trust me free India,
yeah,
and I'm a buy any
yawo me waha.
It's your friend, Rashid Kapon. Me boy.
Edi apeno no.
Edi apeno. Na Rashid Kapon, yatro nationality Indian. Ye we are ni abetro ni maami din ni papa din. Wo si enu ntimi nkyira se me ye Ghana ni ana me nya Ghana ni.
Yeah.
Wey wanu what me akotro se ni maami ni papa twa school fees. Tokonu ni papa no ye adwuma wo ye friend say Koforidua secondary technical. Okọ wi ade ne pam no. Wey papa wey ne ba wey krono a obo ya ma ye twia papa yi so ka ma ye pam ni kotena fia ene wawu aja Abraham wawu ye friend Abraham Kofi Saki ne ma no nyina mini momo omu nyina Ruby nom ne Ben nom ne mini momo I know them oh we are see we no obi anti island mu. And your connections with the NPP, everyone knows. Who doesn't know Tokonis or NPP? Who doesn't know?
Oh, who them so NPP?
What NPP ni? Who cares what NPP ni kuampo no beyaka?
Hey, now some of them mean so NPP.
What NPP ni?
Mean so Chief Justice. Ne ye na be man ko fa ka se bi o NPP.
Ne ye no, what ye chese, what ye jealous of. Say or your party member. Or your party member. And who play the role as a women organizer. And to that syndicate now, created here to loot this state, you know. She was part of that syndicate. Judicial, you are obeying. Just say, I'm up for an Ntim Fordjour. Oma Jay, say. Okay, to say Chief Justice, what but mine? na ade o ya bi sabi akwe was ade o yogas
yeah
no pantina mitini oh and you know omo a certain very primitive mentality once you be bo NDC so and ye bibia na was making sure say yeah na ye dey destroy NDC sa adwemu fi tantan no enu ti na ye di nipa miensa eti akwa akosisi judiciary wa supreme court wo no we kona nipa miensa tisisi wo no me sanka me ba be man pani dako me de grade abekwa kodua yam amele no
oba to ago
look sad ye see in a democracy ana
Debbie
see in a military junta
yeah
who are good for the work nipa nwoche in a democracy e dia be man pani you didn't find the need to put their heads at the Supreme Court. It's something that I'm calling on the NDC. Omo tutu sa nipa miensa ni tino sa nipa miensa ni tino omo de kwasi asam de ti sa judiciary ni mu no sa nipa miensa no oye ya odim at some point o pese okra kosua law wa wo de wa adwen ekosua mra na da ati wo de aba obra na wo de aboa nkofo ama omo so abra abo aye beta no na yebusa o say na wo nana bi ye lawyer na wo fa bi ye lawyer na wo papa bi ye lawyer na uko interview na yebusa sa kwasi asem we nyina edru maybe man so for yakufu me chena boso sa as a chief justice say adan ya wonte ase say a lawyer for ne do so organ na adodo adan mu pacho law ne ye boma law ne ye boma and omo de ti honum na omama e honum akoye to say MPP dia uko Ghana Bar Association such stupid association, very useless association. Look at the presidents of the Ghana Bar Association and look at their political inclination. When you're MPP here, you don't matter.
Okay.
ATBB Biana Koya centralized in a certain, you say, yeah, MPP for, where would you pass the MPP lawyer? MPP lawyer be a bon, onimumra, onim judge. Onimumra, onim judge. Because obekwa kone judge atena se aka kire say me MPP ni etini ye di asem na ma no. And this lawyer, you have to be an extra sharp, brilliant student to pass. When you my MPP for edi DNDC for omo call law school e wo Ghana. Mami wey Onua na in charge of your friend is Ghana Law Report. Now omo timi de ya Akufo-Addo ni dia ba law report mu. It's an editor or editing newspaper. Not what the front page aba. And then the open at the two anymore. I don't know how does that make Akufo-Addo a brilliant lawyer without a certificate. Ni abadi ne so obey your lawyer Ghana hai. Again na Ghana ha bet me actually say was so a human rights lawyer no. Again the church say he was a human rights activist. Who person would destroy a democracy no. Under the cloak of a certain your friend is saying and me chief justice and I mean I'm here we obana yam pamono.
All right.
What because where adia Ghana phone time focus on uni say me what me kokota afre me ma uni bi entia me nko gina ho mo bi nka nkire me say me ye kronfo abra me nim se di pakro no wa wieska etu pa ma judgment biye wo wiase bia ye fa me nko bua me kumfo memma me nyu omu ni.
Okay.
The trust in the judiciary, and only the pivot around which democracy revolves.
Okay.
So me wo susuyepa say that be said my adwuma bi na bia esinto bia ba ho obi de makokota say wo say me ko not judge aka asem no
French
na judge ono se me birth certificate etimi nkyere say me Ghana ni we nipa ami mi nkodira na ni manenka mi anka me say brenkyere me. Do you know the sanctity of that institution? They play the God in the lives of the Ghanaian.
Okay.
It is so 18 a friend of my Lord. But Sani Pano, if he becomes your Satan, why do you have to refer to him or her as your Lord? And okay. To media, me who say, wait, or my penny, my way. Say, and come by and also constitution, ebi a chapter ha ana article we ana clause say kyerɛ sɛ ɔmampani wonni saa tumi ni sɛ wotumi yɛ saa deɛ we ɛna wayɛ Listowel will come and say ɔmampani ada na apɛ sɛ woyɛ lawless sɛ Akufo-Addo knowing what they have done, knowing how they have just impoverished the state by robbing from the coffers of the state what it belonged to the state, you know. And Akufo-Addo started say, she said judge for, or Paki MPP for judge for, you have go Supreme Court, you have go High Court, you have go Appeals Court, you have go, your friend is saying, Circuit Court.
Circuit Court.
It is an NDC abaiwe, Upa, Momo Fast and Court is here. Yeman 3 months. Omba Boscota send not to baby cry. And you know, the reset agenda, no, maybe they feel said the pivot now. And who here to reset judiciary.
Okay.
And Sana me parliament in San Seven your man. Yes, parliament or Sinto, baby. Executive or Sinto or one of the affair was as into Sinto Yamai. But Sinto de a battery pound. But when no, and yet, to say, why a mistake? One more bomb mu pass on bedi bonnet, on by a dream, on by Nioma and Sam Fata. Sandy Panomo ye a quo no more, ayo imagine some bedi or mine bonnet. That criminal syndicate, you know, you must make sure say a quabiasono by any means necessary. You are floor. Okay. We a trainer the Akayama. Since I Matisse judicial secretary knows someone why I resign. Is it true? What resign? How resign? Now, Papa, now reset agenda. No, Yentimi share Kwaya, a bit in your first one. You better reset Yamagana for any institution in Mujidi. Send you be the list of Kokota. Obey to me appear before court. No, we say, Obey justice. Papa. And you say, Obi me a court with the threats. And remember, NPP needs to make a say, on your court. Because of the coordinate threatening will know him say, who court to what? You be boss and neguso because on him judge, you know. Okay. And now, I ring me out. Sa ni judiciary way I'll call you. Upa koshe a judge for no. A lawyer for no mudi as someone no mutia by any container la pay one in one hino. Koshe chambers are free. Akufo-Addo chambers. Akufo-Addo chambers. And you know, you can't be a lawyer near or you're superior to any human being. Yeah. And you know, me mbu Ghana baso so me more papa, me more sebi because also na say President Mahama bai o makotia no. Wo de ma ho busumi nsia. And you man na Akufo-Addo ya the west. O mesase aka ho asem. And so Akufo-Addo ya mampani, did you hear Ghana Bar Association speak to anything? No. Me ami nua yaw a champion. One more wada. When enim SK Buafoba, when enim so NPP ni. Na ya tena ho na NDC force so mutimi ntiba association bi. Association ya force. Onu nti na me say constitution review ya ye beye no. Saga na Bar Association ya ma no some notoriety bi wo constitution no. Omo delete omo fa eraser. MPP film. And judgment taking Tungu baby cry. A very useless institution. More democracy, no. They are very selfish and self-centered. And MPP for NAO Muku, and NDC for Ku, and Ghana Ku, Ghana Bar Association is a NPP for the tier. It is a Christian Council, a NPP for the tier. And more NDC for no. If you want to have a friend and democracy play in a very nice manner, you have to bring about rivalry. Muntimukuo, the true Ghana Bar Association. No, be able to say where you are for cone and Kwasiafoni nie. Separate yourselves from the chaff. Let the grains stand out. Okay. And the chaff also stand in the bed. You only the bed. Moving forward, no. Yeah. Chief Justice Adiano, me say, and yet constitution ama a year. Like I don't hammer just by a stroke of a pen or try to cement papers with their left hand. Okay. One more man. When you say card there and could just Tom and win. I found no market to me the Asema bedroom neck and they are a money judgment. Now LGBT and here and collect it from Mutu. Yet you collect books about yet the other two and him. it took more than about 1.5 years. Na assembly the whole. All because on person Akufo-Addo crab sign.
Yeah.
Last minute Akufo-Addo no or bow out no. Afena, ma me na be ya judgment no. Omwa.
Okay.
And or you more partisan than Aduma I was say oye.
Okay.
On self attack. And the earlier they sack her, the better.
Me da say ni yankwamra na because ye tisimu no stopping no. No stopping. It's innocent over rap and I call way no so direct.
Yeah, I think
no our press conference no who said you pia three for back for the top of sa ko ba ko gina nana B eto na JFK to na we so te ho afeyo market to na nkrofo be se 4 se 5 bi si edin ba ko tuntum bi na me so signal afeyo market se a hu se TV 3 microphone si pia to twele pia to wa no musu pia to twele
we obi a
video na ba stress asem kura bi
we obi a winnim nyansa media general is one of the biggest platforms that we hear party in opposition you need media. And Obi Mark, you are sending a message out there. Somebody is giving you coverage. Also, what I'm known through, and I make us say, you see, these people can never be taken serious. Yeah, the focus should be that. Let's say the focus should be straightforward.
Okay.
Ghana for our concerns about the judiciary. It's not about the Chief Justice. It is not about the individual judges. It is about the sanctity of the system. Because the whole essence of voting for John Mahama stems from the fact that institutions have been compromised and that there is the need for us to enhance them. Akufo-Addo was a corrupt government. It gave birth to a lot of bad institutions in another way. Time has come. As a clean in a corrupt government, what do you expect? Bad fruit and they give you birth to. So time has come for us to, clean these institutions. The MPP will play their games and we know them, that is what they are good at. Clutching at straws. I think the president must remain resolute. Yeah, you see, baby, I don't know. First, judiciary, that nonsense, this stage, it doesn't happen. Now no na me twam we be na sofo bi say and them rante o mamba social media kwa na omo pema na wo be fa no akofa bayifo na me say generation ya no you can't threaten people with this thing no ma me wata no kra na manfo nyina mo na twempena ma me wata na nkasa ma me wata na nkasa amanfo nyina na wo benya sa o get
ma me wata
ya post abenya so you see generation ye wom no ye hunhun nipa say and na me judge na me say no it is about your deed ye obeye and na ama Ghana for need trust and confidence in these institutions ye ntimi am build there because these are the foundational institutions of our democracy. Your coercion, your integration, everything are contingent on these institutions. So at any point in time, if they begin to veer off, we need to bring them in line. So President Mahama Efeli, now when Timian sanitizes these 6 institutions, Ghanaians will be very disappointed in him because it is Ghana versus these people. You promise the people this is what you're going to do. He should stay focused and do. Fortunately, you've been given petition. You're going by the petition. President Enyam for Memra. His actions, everything there is in line. Senka adia oye, and our circumvent procedures are constitutional lady at her. And now oye near my basa na uyo position now raise concern and come here mete hey, I will support you 100%. But as it stands now, they are by motive war because they know what they've done. They know where the woman is coming from, and they know the kind of biases. And I zoom it back. They share the nonsense that has happened within our judiciary. Will you be happy? Rulings in us for our so how of us or panel? There are people on the Supreme Court. A panel, you buy 20 cry for them because Omunim said you are affiliated to this political party. There are people on the bench who have genuine concerns, and they even want this woman out. So you see, we need to build institutions that a bit gender trust. Confidence na manfo nya hotoso say oh judiciary me the master koha you offer me way na at some point in time
judiciary meeting abonten kwa predictive ruling
na chief justice to kwan say all the data say the bottom afenyo mark ni issue ya wo kan ye kanokre MPP ni ya oye failed parliamentary candidate such a landmark issue speaker versus your friend say way na wakotam na ba betena way so omo Kenyan sasema wunti say o qualify who is talking about qualification? Yes. So I think that the posture, the tone, and then near my near my sabi and gender that trust. I mean, she need to have a sense of shame and resign at this point and go, so that you avoid all these things. Because this process, trust me, it will go through. No matter what happened, this process will go through. And evidence, and I will petition, a valid, a absolute. She will go home. What the MPP is doing cannot save her.
Yeah.
I think we need to remain resolute, focused, and deliver Sabaya Ghana for Obenya Toso or what is happening. Now, with this Galamsey issue, I think one thing, yes, a very serious in our approach. You see, over the years, and the soldier for from Rollins time up to now, we haven't been successful.
Yeah.
So I think, in as much as I want us to take stringent measures, I am very front, I be dealing with these things. Individuals now they don't own site, they don't own anything. These are people because of poverty, for a daily bread. So we are government, now your focus is on these people, you make a mistake.
Yeah.
There are campaigns, they don't go into the site, they don't go. They are the concession owners. They are the people who are importing these Chinese from wherever they are to come and do some of these things. Government strategy must target these individuals and make sure, say, the owners of this site should be our prime target. You understand? Because the it's like washing your feet, abra wash your socks. And again, so we have your mining regime over the years now tilted to favor foreigners rather than Ghanaians. Ghana have come to the realization, say, so who own resources now, you must benefit from it. What do you think the people will do? They will rise against you. So government must begin to review your mining regime, those laws now, laws now in the past, we own the resources. We must have absolute control. Countries, and Saudi Arabia, who say our oil, hiring American companies with services expertise in Saudi Arabia. Yes, on the rig. The individuals there are Americans and UKs. What the expertise, but yet they work for these people and they pay them at the end of the day. Why can't we go by the same model? So Ghana will get to the realization say and Yansun we need to. This Galamsey thing, I told you the last time, say what you have to do is you see at every district, at every region, but Galamsey no cost on. Form a state-owned company. Let the company employ young people. Government, because we are then nipa two at the end of so you will lead. So these people will be working for institution under government, highly regulated. They are going by the procedures. These people will not destroy our soil. By a time na ye jagu hokake na soja foko gumuram na ya pamwe go pam the panu free wa. The following day we can go back. They will go back and occupy the place. And again, unemployment situation. We must also begin to look at it because it is one of the driving force. And one major idea about committee has to do with the deportation of these Chinese people who come here. For me, I think it is one of the most stupid policies if we are going to implement it. China near. As a country, we don't even prioritize our own people. We are putting premium on foreigners. And I was shocked to realize, Manasseh investigation in China for from 2001 to 2021. We can't do this. And our people are in prison. Our people are languishing in jail. These are people who bring high equipment to this country and they destroy soil and so forth. And I was say, soldier for call, baby.
Operation. Western region, Burkina Faso. Just all the African countries that you can think of.
Yes, and Chinese are there.
China for
exactly.
And Omoya counterfeit, Omoya drugs.
You see, China an approach. Okay. Yes.
Serious.
Yes, and this other way has been there. We had dining as a phone. And then next year it's been there.
Yeah.
And that is the source of money among Fonya. So they are comfortable, and these people are doing some of these things. We turn around and pretend that we are fighting Galamsey. I think that we need to you have to revise our methods.
Yeah.
How a bit me deal with this frontally. And yes, sir, you never bear on and sass in the young soon, you know, say, just to satisfy the greed of some few individuals who want your friends at Niaman or Muom. And unfortunately, when they do these things, they cannot cry Magana for home. I go into private pockets. China for your Muya Galam say, they are able to smuggle this gold out of this country. I know that they know minor short changing.
Yeah.
Now they are using Ghanaians to do some of these things. I know that they impoverish the people and they go away. So government need a grand policy approach. I bet immediate dealing with some of these things because Kasano Yadoso. And Ghanaians are very much concerned about this Galamsey men and Senator as a forum. I think that the approach must be very holistic, must be robust, making sure say punishment I will for even foreigners who come here should be biting enough. Now so we are now with foreign and now necessarily play no there. You are rather motivating them to come more because you actually the worst that can happen is that we can't continue to do this. Or minor cannot continue to show weakness. So we are weak in the name of or because that is what Osafuma said some time ago. I think we need to get serious as a country. Yeah, okay. Making sure say reset reset here, reset all facets. Now you create the maximum value out of our own natural resources. So be benefiting the people, but not benefiting other people as well. Now, I said that man way, I think
governments are taking
what over. Government need to do is we need to nationalize that particular thing. Now you only and whatever services that we require to say to we can hire from anywhere in the world, and we must begin to renegotiate existing way, including Obuasi land now. Anglo Gold other people are taking, including recent deal. Kufuor to sign this lithium deal. We must begin to own these things. When we own it, I think it will sad natural resources. A country like DR Congo, and right now, because natural resources or more can even take care of the whole of Africa, but have poverty because some individuals, because of greed, want to take advantage and own everything. I think we need to rethink as an Africans. But
in fact. I am a depa, my boss and send them one can't say kind, but I dare not watch no. I think I was so be ultimately be now. Then you understand why people want justice at the judiciary. God never sleeps. That is why He sees all we do. But if He were ever to doze off, it is judges the people have no choice but to rely on for what is right or wrong. A judge who leaves the people doubting or confused may be fit to serve at the mortuary or some other businesses, but not an any court, let alone a Supreme Court.
Yes, yeah.
Ken Kwesi Shea Dakwa.
Quick one, yeah. That is a very powerful statement. And you see, now Listowel Kasano, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. My Lord, Ninyanipano. The veil of reverence, according to the institution judicial. Because those times, in the UK, settlements and on a court and I say Nipani dia sama ojina or henena naimu. Or you can't even argue because power no derived directly from the king. So it assumes a king and atana. So that is the veil of reverence, and these people executed that mandate with perfection, absolute way. And that has been anything my Lord now has been replaying in history up to now. It doesn't mean that we are Lord, we are not Lord, but you obey. But we've gotten to a time Obi say, "Oh yeah, Lord, etia kondwem kwaji aponche de ninu akoto prison." And you sit here and we say because we are Supreme Court and can wasem. No. It can't happen. So I think that we are judge. You need to live it. I active value principle. You need to live according to it. And always, you must live to sustain that trust between you and the people. At any point in time, if that trust is not there, you need to resign and go. But unfortunately, now Museveni, in the video, African leader, or yare when you stroke on also to say machine, but yet he's still working as president. And
I saw that video.
We don't want power to go. Black man will hang on to power, even Ukraine. You understand? So I think we sometimes say, let it go. Power, you won't die.
All right, Bradley Listowel.
Oba, you kind Galamsey who says, the bear future. But I did be a cost we are seeing the say unima the cry, you can't intimate solve.
Okay.
Identifying a problem is almost it makes the problem half solved.
Sure.
Until identification here. Oh, yeah, can't galamsey. Ubi wa bem na unima dia e friend galamsey over there no wako. What I say. And until I say na future me say aban any boys ni na nya dia na edu da bia o mon kasa ye ya ye bia ye mo me yemfa ye tusu ye titino na obi esi ID ni a otumi kwa aware na dwumenti o okwa aware ma aware no eso atimi di investigate either bema na oba se bema eye CID ni no okwa aware a obi a okwa investigate oba se oba kwa aware a CID for no obi timi ko ye betwani o baabi enye se abetwa no ne hia no but just so that ebi a omunim se ebi abetwafo edi boni bi ewe kura bi ase emre bi sehwi ba ku bi si ho ema menka abusuafo ya omukuku akwala bi ebi ase no investigation ne ko so ama sa abofra na omuku no no CID ni ba koware ebusuani no ye investigation ama ye hu ye ekusi ye what you say aban emmeng sebi omo omutu galamsey penifo se oban sua na wo so kotobo wa
okay
the only reason why obi ye ga na ni a obekwa akose nsu because ehia Ghana ni sheda enye na adwen se opese o sei bibi nsuwa ne ya kwaya bebrebe ase ni nyina foreigners minima de kura ayehu wo manwe mu a enu nti no yentimi nya yemu gidie se ye hia foreigner ene de atwe gold wo manwe because the last time I checked gold fields omo to gold wo manwe mu no omo mining activity bi omo ye bi eye earth moving bi ya no Ibrahim Mahama engineers and planners na ye into say Ibrahim na to gold no no wi a wo de amabroni no na broni ne de keti wani we bi te say due less 5% ya ma wo miner obetu gold ni free mu a etu bu sa ho say
unyansa wo he
unyansa Nyankopon de ma wo a wo sa de gold ne kan ho no
wo he fa
sir mine a mini minor micro minority for minute minority for omo no akose nkofo bi achi da man 30 years na so aban say mini da man to nkwanta
ya pai
ni nyina go fields sa da man go fields aduma oye no Ibrahim ene etu ade ma da man go fields for enti no ubusa ho say say Ibrahim Mahama engineers and planners ene to gold no the ma emrofo no na emrofo na yi emu 5%
e dey am mine no
na omatua Ibrahim Mahama na otu efomagudie ma omo no
eka
omatua ono ne ka na enya mrofo no na etu gold no amwo
de mo ma sisa gold ne de akọ
etibusa ho se ga na ni nyansa we
Listowel quick one. Do you know kwan ya ma China for more mu ye. Onko China ni for mine ni gina o Ghana for na ye adwuma
nyina the contract ne ba ma China.
Interchange ya o krom ha nyina e Ghana for okomoto we Ghana for de guso. Broni China ni ba kope.
Yes, do you know the meaning? O chere say o ahode e de ye adwuma no. But adwene ne e de ye adwuma no
ni bi.
We dey adwene ne e de ye adwuma no Ibrahim Mahama company engineers and planners.
Omo
wono timi se saga na fo na watwa wajibe sa mo twa ticket mo de o makoti na school mu wa brochire se mo nyire mo nsua de na mo mra meya adwuma o engineers and planners nipa 200 no de o mko enti no the requisite knowledge are ye to gold e wo Ghana ha no in fact our Africa no ya bona baso say obi bie ni wo ya Africa ni a owo sa company a etimi ya sa adwuma ni
I don't say South Africa for crime no.
Again, Ibrahim.
Yeah. Big consignment.
Mining companies say what Liberia, Sierra Leone, there is no firm in this continental. It is a Ibrahim company.
Oh yeah, Jamama Niantino.
What I say? Sani Panano, maybe. You say, Wakwakoji bauxite, concession, Okotu, and no NPP for the Ghana, for United Setia, Asiedu Jimmy near the concession, Ama Ibrahim Mahama. Sana Oba, yes, a bauxite, trailers 40 at the mouse, Gia, what the bedding.
Tell me, name deal.
And you know, find your way. No engineers and planners war. Nindia, Omokofa, Estin cubic, father for almost say there be. You two bauxite now. The better smelting machines were gonna have the IS smelter. No, at me, alumina, the Aquacoma Vaco. Bibinino, a yaba womiana Kufado, no. Almost there be. Young farmer Ibrahim, Yaquacofa China from Momabi to China for number 1 to 2.
I might be on 2.
Oh, Bibini, a castle, Jimmy, and the Jimmy, no, a bonta. Meanwhile, engineers and planners are now esting cubic near Sajumana. And Quebec of Ghana for a Juma. Nina Hini, Nimami Kromo, or no Nimami.
Yeah.
Oh, so sometimes, no, which you say, yeah, what bro. Said Bibini Benadi and Cabroni in fact. I could follow no strategy, Nibi. No, I quack of a bruni. Not only bruni, no, Ato Kesse, hey, they said that what be the enemy near Jiwedi. Ya diwu dia e beka se broni na etu na me no aba be che ne wa fichire enu nti na covid ba ye na kufodo ni nyansan mu no no gucci fo na ye test ma ye hu se covid aba no gucci fo na ye nyuma ni nyina so so kwakofa ye fe ni sen frontiers e kwotena airport e mo mu gigi sika e wie o mu declare 17 million e ma Ghana just 1 million ohun bibi ni agene enti no ye nipa ahoya wo yemu ye too envious of each other obi nim say ukiki ye fe pa o kan say oba ukiki ye fe ya we kiki we dey say nye papa me wo papa wo obekwa akofa ne dia ba no na ne nsa ba ko abu obi say atare kra na efa yenka because ye di otan hunu otan ani aduro ase yemu Diamond for the year came. One na what to adhere no. And don't you think say was a government national free Ibrahim Mahama? Say only with a company. See company need you engineer or science planner. Engineers and planners. Mumra, Mummy and Tenassi. Ibrahim, no to go the manco for the call. No, Mama, just 5%. I then I want to now or my minimum benefit to be at 50%. Now machine cost my boys have a former juma workers be so 50%. Now boys are go galam say pity mu nyina on
nka ya be form nyina
yes there's what
na e bia ba bia omo ye man na hodo no say ye de ahye wonsa una ye earth mover una wo earth moving equipment una wo the
jealousy na
it say no ye ma wo wakotu gold no gold bia obenya bia no aban regulate because say yati gold board no say boys na omo ne obeya adwuma no so munya gold bia ye ne omo be che omo benya ohamu chichemu say wo machine cost any wo expertise ye be tua say na o man na fade aka
simple
we eye nyansa eye common sense se broni China ni a wono na motom kankan ebeba be fa akọ
ye pe no chance ye nua bibini just am do one make ase
China ni na ba de ohia ni excavator no akọ ahemfo kra mu
omo do mo ye dey
China ni a wo di ohina temu a yo dati you dati ono a wakasa ne hu fi no ka kacha ohina so ohina ye dati na omo soso no kakra omo so bedie nti na wa ma China ni kwan ma na wuram akowura kwayem no wakosai kwaya no because oye no indiscriminately tese wo ye ade no to the point
say ya ne kuro
say ya enfane
ho nyo ne ye nete ha
so the enfane ho so the sign of the good show man enfane ho it is how the ade ma Ibrahim kura na see Ibrahim wonko abi kura wontimi nya adwuma ni ntino tete nkwala na fe ba bibia ye to gold bia no se ne be ya ye nsensuo no ye be pese wo be ko ho na wo be kire o mo se ne ye be si fa ye no ebi kura mpo a schools na wo Ghana ha ni expertise o betimi a kire ne yi a ye be sere wo se ne ye wo ye ne daa no obi otimi bua nipa 200 ano
omo
go in batches so ebi ameke offer nipa 1,500 adwuma but they will be going in batches we are na we aba no ma be omo ye adwuma na we mu so ko enti eneme no ka say ne staff omo ye adwuma no the expertise they have no ebi ni Africa ha na so no MPP ni nim say Ibrahim nya NDC
fo nya oye joma me
ye mo su jetira mo ba 8 years na mo ba ye na mo say mo mani 2 box site no box site na ku for do 2 plates so atwitwawe mo dwene ni so ate say ntatia ba dwene na ntatia ba krampo ni me de tutu ho a ase me ya kase mo ni nyansa because Bible mu say
kwa abo tatia
anche ko so nyansa ase anoma ba ni mo kese no ade do mo tirim no eso too much Pentium M na twem say no ye ko terabytes any gigabytes ati ye besrew mo
okay
baby adro no dalam say na to be twa we must bring on board those who have the expertise
okay
ebi krampa na Ibrahim wo a certain module bi ana say the company dey wo module bi a omu use so okay say maybe na joma ma ye campaign no obo ba ku bi so obo so say you will be a friend niche we be two ensure be to set dam
na ensure egu fa ko enti ne nko ba bia
down so watu mienu miensa enti wo wi a ensure na ye fi no wo betimi asa wo she ensure no amana sa akogu another dam mu na wasa ba be use dia ye adwuma no wi a asa ye fi no wo she. Don't you think it's something that is genius? I think say moving forward no say ye kwam omo afiri kwa ye ni mu no you need kind of strategy.
Okay.
Engineers and planners for Ghana here. Ibrahim, a be our friend and enquire. John Muhammad, your friend at the court. Onua the enemy. On calling saying, the second in that tension, the cushion and our coin. The woman answer. The boy. Go face a you may only two. Anglo good crab a common two. Go to be a two Ghana, he only two. Tiade na ye to go no na de ma broni ama ono repatriate
no de
Canada akọ ni krom no ono ama oketu anu abi say Ibrahim anya ne sika e ye go no okotu ye no ono anya ne sika the machine sika no
the machine sika
eti mo be the machine sika ama no broni no a wonya gold no say otu da man na say bi Ghana out of 100% bi a say me ne me workers ya fa 50 o man ni 50 a ye nya mfa so
na 5% ni 50 na say
ye nya 20 a che 50 a be ka de emwa
ebeboa ye
eti mesre o me mfa sabi o tiny sa ni o manuma ni nyina ntonchen na ye ya ebe benefit e bi kura me kan afa no market de bi sorry o baba na ni the constituency for here adwuma ye o timi kan chem se galamsey for ni constituency se ne constituency for no any MPP for a constituency for no nyina ye for bia ba adwuma na say estin cubit for a in a hill box site ye too gold ye too diamond ye too ha enye papa nchen say yakofa broni
China niama
go feel so yen kasa omonko new monto yen kasa omonko but enfaso a omde ma oman no
shadodo na 5% ye
so say there be 100% busa sa me jamfi ona is order go board no
wrap up on it
enti say no new month for to go da omo wetimi dia omo go da kwa na okay na say this year the fat gold board mu so wetimi dia akode don't you think say e betimi ama enkofo akoton omo gold ama
new month for ana I think a question kase pe was say
address all this
o
address no na ye homegrown solution
okay
why e be fa so aye betimi I think on our feet and mine our gold first na any machinery any equipment any expertise say you will be you will nua o to be and necessary we you nua nti na me body ho da ro we you be a so wo challenger body come rock show box site no rock show ontimi kura nye ontimi two box site one head pan ontimi two any money bi o wa na me afama wa
we are there ya wan farmer okay
send back for 40 but the man no the amount but last but not the least let me know guide for na say share obaya so what cause when prison me nua Gregoria Foku enti de na me na ye enti awo
ewo
hwe obi kan asema obi timi asu eya me follow me nua ba ko Ibrahim pan ya ye fa so ye treaty prisoners obi o krampa ye na asema court e kwan a judge benya abotre
etie na
etimi adwa ntatie nya ne nso no onya abotre obi akoma ni sika etini focus nyina ne se akwa we kwan bia so wo so difo me makabida na me sa kabiem me metwa bribe ma judge da e free da me twa sa bribe no no me nu me hu no nipa na me ko twa bribe say ye mani ndifo no odifo eso me makuma mu no me hu say na me nam difo ba judge no a wo je bribe no yakopon enfa ne crazy e free sada no man respecting biem sika na wo je free me ho no me lawyer na dem call you lawyer no a very popular lawyer me money dey one na dem call say yen ko tua bribe yes asem we dey me difo ye tua bribe no ma judge no wo ka ne crazy yakopon fa ne crazy me mu judge ni biem afei na metimi free judge ni anyhow na metimi man ye useless because me orders no tie
I just can't
because I had the money to pay me start to afraid to cry the freezer man so on turn am friendship now busa ho say sa nipa o tinsa wamu a wo ye judge a wo gisika wo di na kotumu no a wo sign abrabo no ebi a na odi bi mu wo gisika e di na kotumu wakatwa ne de enti die enti na ni kwan se ya reset na afa mimi nya gidie wo judiciary nim se me di asem kwa ye be di ama me enya afa no ma ke nko na wo so di asem kwa na ye frɛ asem ne ne
ne abua ne ne wa bra ye di ile bi asem abeto court edi fie sen
o ma mfre mpo enti no ma me ne de se me ka se ye ka na asem a ho ahwe be te se ye tan no me nya anya tan ho me do me mind too much se me hu so obi mpɛ my way yi awo na a degenerate into a time because on my way no emu ofehwe oba ya say what to kwaya kwama fo amanso a na wo hwe on my Ghana awo ye too nice say you better allow for just partisan politics na ye dey say on my no because of some parochial interests because of obi bibi a wo panya obi hu a wo panya obi mu a wo pese de boa obi for favors ne nyoma ebi kura wo nim senka bia wo chief justice kura nke bi enru so but because Ekufodo na de wa ba betina ho nti no e wo say at all cost uye bibi na odi please no wa bra o man no na asoma o man adwuma na wo ye o man we Ekufodo dia enye ne dia okay a process
thank you
o man go through me ne there sebi me ye just a commentator ebi a me dia me ka kura do ma wo ntie but senko tie mi a yes, and your man with speed.
Okay.
With much speed.
Okay.
So the bear enquire say we been in judge you know why you notorious. Now we do boy crop back. We be in a bear crop what me real sika 23 the way akoto dan makuma 27. Who PF record to any we say I know I'll be victorious because we in judge.
Okay.
Because when you say on there.
When I say, okay, when I say, my birthday wish we Chamuna Yentime and sorry so, and Alhaji Isifu.
7 years, and then 120.
Okay.
120.
My mention na edi ahim okrum eno. They decide na aweni in people are or more occupy your friends saying leadership position in this country. Because in the last 8 years, you who quite be as a nipakubi afanyansa quite beje political power. Yako nipa so ako kasa chiromo na nipa nya yemu gidie no modi tumu ya mayen. But yenya tumi ni wie no, they decided to use the power to further their personal parochial interest instead of say yebeye de bema Ghana ni asetire mu atono. Enti yebenya a lot of generational thieves. Generational thief means that one person will steal and steal massively to the extent say or setting himself up. Ne man ne nana no mudi na chinyina no bia be typical example de adubo ahen ye. So power na Ghana for nya kokodro de share o mampanyini nsa se onjina sa tumi no so na ontoto neema na neema emeye no ebeye akwanya ye bie tuma. People were just robbing the estate left, right, center, and at the end of the day, you could not see a single actionable plan by the president and as an initiative by the president. Say you didn't remedy the situation and answer obi forma yebe ma mmara ne nhyehyeye wo ho ni nadi ama nipa na hu say indeed oman no na ho tra kekese obetim de won sa abo oman sikam ye hu sisila da pa no ma over millions of dollars egu omon passe several other individuals are dirty corruption scandals besene koye. So ye koduru baabi aboache na Ghana ni gidie e wo amamuo mu na aban mu na ekofom. It got to a point na Ghana for were chanting say sabi eku kura ku dita kura ye better than the democracy. Because na the na practicing was some kind of a phony democracy. On paper, people think this is a democracy, but you could see clearly say it was just a small screen. Beneath it, it was a Ponzi scheme. Some individuals were just using it just to further. So before elections, na among for bomobu a spread yama among for cross spread. Say all the politicians, you heard that conversation in this country. But President Mahama reiterated his commitment to the people of this country. Say this time round, this is somebody who has been president before. Unfortunately enough, is the first person to be back again. You need to revive the trust man for war in the political establishment, because anywhere in the world, so who say ade friend the country is ade about ho ban enye soldiers enye police, the trust and the confidence citizens repose in that establishment and the money is strong. So the very moment you see people withdrawing that trust and confidence, the estate becomes shaky and vulnerable. So I go to the Middle East. What happened in Tunisia in 2012-2010 when the infamous Jasmine revolution kick-started man for who say ade we ekoso Tunisia no neighboring countries who say yanso ye need trust wa aban mu no omo nyina join. It spread like a bushfire. I know the day, there are a lot of presidents in the Middle East. Okay, North Africa, yes. Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and several other countries. So it shows that trust and confidence is key. So President Mahama Bana or back, just to sustain and revive that trust among for ye. And I'll catch the Ghana for say, made the 120-day social contract. Fortunately, we went to the polls. Ghanaians voted massively. And in the history of this country, opposition party in so far such a humiliating defeat in the history of this country as the NPP as a political party so far. Clearly, a choice said it was affirmation. Ghana for say. Samna papa no kanomu ujidi so watch it. So by your president, you have no right to veer off from this social contract. I want to Ghana for saying. And here we are once again. What has been done for me? I think sir, man for said this is a new version of John Mahama. He is very precise, very concise. The clarity of thought. He is very bold and he knows what he's doing. And if you look at some of the decisions he's taken so far, clearly you know sir, this is a man who is on top of what he's doing. You understand? Clearly, a choice is sitting at the sidelines for 8 good years, He's learned his lessons. He has even become more sharper and more efficient. And that is why the way a man you see that kind of way. For instance, over the years, Adiaba Ghana for sorority sa amamuo kase set it up. Na yetua man foka. Because financing a huge government na nkasa na have a toll on government. Akufo-Addo catch that and say, "Minuanom, adwuma no so." Enti se may appoint a large sum of government and obetimi ama ye adwuma no. That particular assertion by President Akufo-Addo no edify a theory of modern governance which is premised on efficiency. Efficiency is about small numbers, multitasking, and people doing things. Yeah. And Yamfa crowd and your government. But President Akufo-Addo told us he needed a crowd. Ghana got furious because no more, it became the worst government in the history of this country. So the number became useless. So you go into elections, people were asking, said the size of government is something needed to be done about it. President Mahama made that commitment, and truly, when he won power, that is one of the first things that he did. So you see, I listened to some lecturers and some so-called FS economists or more monetary value. What they to say appointment and what is so from way to way crown in terms of way Sikando is saying. You see, and I'm say governance, you need to be a deep thinker before you understand certain things.
To be a deep thinker.
Yes. if you are emotional person, you always make the valuable point. But you need to be a deep thinker. A deep thinker, not just say, Mahama numbers no kati, you know, isn't just about the monetary gain the country will get, but it's a symbolic gesture I will pay to the people of this country. Say, I've heard your cry. Because under Akufo-Addo, when we had this economic downturn, the whole thing is downsize government, cut down the size of government. The gentleman didn't do it. He was rather appointing people, deputy ministers. He was adding up. Yeah. But doing this, you know, a symbolic gestures, symbolic relevance to the people of this country. This is a president who is ready and willing to listen to the people of this country, your cry and your concerns. And for me, he did that with finesse, with touch. Ghana for appreciated as we speak now. The ministries now your friends say over 30, no, I downsize it to 23, and the ministers and I start now assisting no kind of say
yeah, or 56
exactly 4 outstanding. But if you look at how far he has been able to deliver within this 120 days, clearly you could see you don't need a crowd to run an efficient government. You need people who are responsible, people who are whatever it takes. And for me, that is a good way to go so far as the size of government is concerned. And again, oko social contract me abobo some of the things na oka na one thing na AD has to do with economy na ye kan wasem no under President Akufo-Addo me catch say we decided to borrow foolishly. We got to a point now there was nothing that we could do to salvage ourselves. To the stand said, now we have to run to IMF. Now you kokwaji loan. You go to our external and internal creditors. Now you making sure say you restructure your debt. So be able to be a survival. President is your bar or best setting up this economic dialogue forum just to engage stakeholders across your friends or your friends space. Another day that initiative need discussion of course, you know. Today you can see say some impact on the economy of this country. And then look at the cedi today. The cedi is enjoying some level of stability. You understand? Because for the past bare way, you could see say the dollar rather is depreciating and the cedi is appreciating. That is a positive sign. And also Chira say investors' confidence, you know, emu ayedru. God the air cost switch say investors are pulling money into this country. God they knew say there is a new government. Niema basesa kwanya niema faso air corner say the sika ba ya nhwiri sika na nasefo nom. And for me, that is one of the best things I betimi ayetimi sustain this ade we ya. E betimi aboaye. And again, nsema na Ghana fo eka na ya manfo adesoa has to do with taxes, COVID-19, you have saying betting tax, yes. And several other taxes. Na abidavo Ghana for ama nema and shada sitana enkoyima Ghana for. That promises were made. Say Oba he will do away with these excessive taxes and make sure say Ghana ni ehombatona. Ampara, some of these taxes have been removed, and as we speak, the ordinary and the average Ghanaian will not have to go through the hurdle of paying some of these things. Oh yeah, illegal transactions and then as for those double charging and as for no, and then those things, you know, a year from Ghana need can breathe. So these are promises you make to the people of this country, and you deliver on the same thing. When it comes to a human and as for look at the platform that has been established so far. I know most of them know you can assess their viability now, but the mere fact that they've been implemented, set in motion, you know, we can hope say it will get better. One has to do with this Ajumaura thing that was your friend is like introduced here. You see, I can't say young people everywhere. They are the backbone, the workforce you need in a part of the world. The skills, knowledge, and whatever that it takes to equip them with a requisite skill set. So some of these enterprises are there just to boost young people when it comes to their entrepreneurial skills. Give them the finances and any support to start businesses on their own. Because there is nowhere in the world that any government can employ virtually everybody and give them jobs. So you need to empower them. Even America, most advanced economies, you know, private sector is more larger than the government sector. You need to empower people, give them that particular way. And for me, that is one thing. And again, with this ICT initiative, you see, the world is pacing. The world is in a competition.
Coders, no.
Exactly. world no go into a digital economy and a honor we are seeing an team deco. How do you as a government reposition your young people so be able to tap into this digital economy? Over the years, we've been lagging. The last time I remember Hamakacho said football has created its own economy. Unfortunately for us, we've not been able to tap into this economy. But the digital economy, is one thing it doesn't matter where you are. If you go to America do you know that most of the mobile telecommunication companies, they outsource their jobs, to some companies outside the US. Maybe India and other countries. And for instance, for a bank, now what making enquiries to know or bank transaction as a foreigner. That particular contract has been outsourced to a foreign company somewhere in India. So the person over picking phone is sitting somewhere in a computer or India. And I wouldn't casa because these people have been able to tap into this digital world now. They're becoming very innovative. So how do we reposition young people say the emerging market, the innovative world of technology now? How do we also take advantage? So if a president I'm making the commitment to make some of these services available, for me, I think that is a good call because it is not always there be a memo sika kwa say honorable mami way no for how long and I bet my honorable mami sika but nipa no chira how to fish. If you have some of these skills, so I'm calling on young people. So some of these things, whether you believe in it or not, just take advantage. At the end of the day, in the future, ube who some faso because ajuma bien wa aya papa chen we say obi be tell how to make your own work and now ube timi ya mana ya ajuma. And for me, I think that so far so good. And adiaba akwa metimi asen aka for me, a lot of people are impressed has to do with this medical trust fund. Ghana medical trust. Exactly. You see, yeti Chrome has saying some of us on TV, on radio, sorry tia this initiative ayentam on my sika emfankusi cathedral emfankutuamana. I have told you said that enterprise was a senseless enterprise considering where the world is moving to today. Because we need to put premium on young people. How do we give them a future? But we sat in this country, my software president Kabum, for over $58 million of taxpayers' money. And another government is in play. The government is not building a cathedral. Rather, he is setting up a medical trust fund. I will provide free medical services for individuals or more chronic disease. Because some of these things, there is nothing that you can do about it. Say obi our kidney disease, obi or liver, obi or heart problem. These are conditions you live with it forever. Opa mayam found Kosi Bank of Ghana, baby Chesikano, Obasheno. So it's a government making effort to make sure that some of these avenues are made available. Yet Tikroma Kolebu. Now they were charging people, getting money to go there, a problem. But those who are fortunate enough say Yesika, they call Kolebuno, Ubakone say atum, other yes machine say, but near Yesika di Tuamana. Ye Yesika di Disabian Semunu Kroma say, among for a bokrono, people were dying our Kolebu because the renal unit was shut down. NTN Abanya Biaba no say media. I care about the average and the ordinary because people who are going through these conditions, there are Ghanaians, especially this era where your friends say Galamsey, I take center stage. You don't even know what now no. Poison or not, whether it is poison or not. So every single person is susceptible to some of these, your friend is saying, diseases and some of these chronic conditions. And the system, they say, some of this initiative has been established so far. I give you comfort to Ghana. And he say, so when you say, there is avenue for you. People will be making contributions. These are enterprises, taking care, deep in the welfare of the people, not the other one. A selfish parochial interest, and then we invest these monies in senseless enterprises. Nipana or moya sanyamano, as why then no Kenyans assembly untie. And in the end, so for me, I think that people may have their preferences and whatever, but so far there is no sensible person out there what Mahama has been able to do in the last 120 days. No, because Sebi, your friend saying he's not on the right track. I think where he is right now, he's on right track. And if he's able to continue like this, for me, he's going to leave a legacy that will leave an indelible imprint on the conscience of this country. Because Makasa being president, you know, and no, very easy to be president. But being president with the responsibility, no, that is, and like Hana Jumana, a Hana Kufuad, he thought that being president was just about one Namna Soja for do what your president. No, that is not president. President is being president with the responsibility. Looking at the mandate that has been given to you, you work to satisfy those your friends say, Nearman, Sabaya Ghana, Nibenya, Komaton, Yem say, Nearma, Kosui, Buame. For instance, one of the initiatives of person has to do with this cocoa board, your friends say pension scheme for your friends say farmers. I know a man for Modia cocoa. Obia Niti and ye 20 years cocoa no. Oku can't run them coffee one city crammer on your mount. You what I say. But some of these things, you know, almost uncle for no one on by a sadia no. Government the answer or the policy but you have to say uncle for home along the line. And if there is a pension scheme that has been introduced, a bit of money to be taken from the farmer, government to add up to it, and we invest this money, sabaya obi a cocoa farmer. That's all also called retirement. Obetimia bank is a mensume, kwa retirement package. Sabaya onko come, na teacher ni kwa benefit. Na farmer non so because of the contribution or make to the country, you know, some of these things, you know, mobile beneficial. So, watch it. I think I will run it through 120-day social contract now, President Mahama and Ghana for sign, you know, on that basis now here. For me, I think that he has really done well. And Ghana need be any whole deal like so to Abama na obey disappointed. But baby, a man for a share nimu said near my bet to us so akwamu moya thing has to do with the fight against corruption. Because that arena for me is the most important thing. Yet TV so radio so can about issues of corruption for how many years? We are not just speaking to abstract way. We were speaking to fact individuals. We are involved in thievery, corruption, and then as a forum, and are the old rabbi. So for me, I am calling on the Attorney General. Say on speedy updates. I understand you see the wheels of justice are grinding slowly, but this is politics. You understand? I'm not saying that Obi is not guilty. Guilty. But the government needs to be very frontal. If there is any initiative that President Mahama government has to be very frontal with it has to be issues of corruption. Because we cannot just sit here and we wake up and it's like business as usual. Just look at one person like this gentleman, your friend is saying, Adubuahin. The way this gentleman was able to steal from state coffers. And these people are not even intelligent people. These are weak-minded individuals are access to power. Then you ask yourself, how did these people get access to power? Because nipa be ne nimnyansa or your CEO and as a director of a company, Albert bank transfer directly from state account to personal account and be moving money from his personal account to go and buy property. Now more dama clearly trust nipa we nimnyansa. So you ask yourself, how did he get there? Clearly, I chose that family and friends enterprise na ye running no. And one na ye guso na ye dey running on mine no. So time has come for us to say enough of this. Ghana voted massively because of corruption. So we need to make it a priority. The government must do everything to ensure that every single person be ordering in sabo mindsi can be no. Ghana will not forget that. And Ghanaians will never forgive the president if he forgo that sacred responsibility. Because Ghana want to know nipa for musika. For instance, sa train we are, I'm friends a sky train. Yeah. Even the conception of that idea na nkasa kwanyansa bi anim. Na train the na asase cry or do say na yakofa dem nam wiem na we obi onim nyansa. Will you even conceive this idea? Train na nam form no. Asase so de cry ya constructors are yenwie da. Asase so train cry ye nibi. Na ensom to agboboloshide nkra ma bi. Na train bia enam ade no so uhu kra obubefu. Enam ade de die chire no nya ade keto anade enum ene ya painting na de si ade so. Na train no de enam form cry ye nibi. Na kwabrane oya professor atenase akotena board meeting afa pen ni paper say ye be sky train. You be now be sound say in the school now you sometimes and you begin to wonder whether we train minds or we just give people papers. Because me and Mete, you cannot come and convince me that memfa pensi paper so and approve $2 million because you be a sky train. And I about them training the name from no crowd do saying. You understand? So some of these things are also we need to punish crime. We need to punish people for them to know, say, or mine on your easy, sir. There are two key things you should never do: showing weakness and showing mercy. Because the very moment you go by these two key things, you lose your leverage as a country. Obia be taking advantage of you, and they will do things they are not supposed to do. So for me, the state must rise to the occasion and make sure that we are not witch hunting anybody, but any single person, be an personal decisions, actions, inactions, omissions, anything I go against the rules of engagement, we really need to. And again, state institutions as well. You see, Minister Chief Justice issue near Babaso, Babuache, there one sacred responsibility I go beyond President Mahama is strengthening state institutions because that is the foundations of our democracy. Because you got to a point Ghana for lost trust and confidence in your friend is saying your government. How do you revive that? Because do you know say Abrante yo Burkina Faso or but TV so Ghana for a budget so or a cool leader.
Yeah.
And you see how young people have become so much fascinated about guy no nearman or sa nearman danger is a box Ghana. I'm telling you, if we do not work to satisfy the aspirations and the welfare of these people, trust me, this democracy, this era will be the last leg of Ghana democracy. And we cannot afford to fail the people of this country. And I'm sure President Mahama Obi our pointing to him. And now, when you are to be in power, no matter say, you see, Rollins be dear 21 years and not power now we come to serve. Oba, do your bit. That level of arrogance and then as a form no. Make sure say the people and your priority work and satisfy near mess away. What time you go and another person will come. That is what politics and power is all about. It is not about you being there. So why you kokoti? No. Power ye the serve nipa. Ye mfa metre nipa so. Some mistake na Akufo-Addo ye one who na we ye nie because we need to me now the Bobra Papa. Even in your absence, people will remember and they will give you that